And welcome into the CSI Softball Complex here on CSI Sportsnet. We are just underway in this East Coast Conference softball doubleheader between the College of Staten Island and the University of Bridgeport. Good evening, everybody. This is Joe Foreman alongside David Pizzuto, bringing you all the action live from behind home plate during tonight's games. And we apologize for our getting on the air a bit late. We're heading into the bottom half of the first inning right now. The University of Bridgeport leading the College of Staten Island by a score of 1-0. Some internet issues delaying the start of our broadcast, but the start time of this game was moved up approximately 15 minutes to 5:45 p.m. In the top half of inning number one for the Purple Knights, Emily Korick retired the first two batters she faced in the circle for the College of Staten Island. Then after that, it was Kyra Ramon who came to the plate and doubled on a pop fly down the right field line. The ball got away from Victoria Whalen for just a moment. That turned what could have been a single into a double credited on the play. The following batter, Taylor Yates, singled on yet another weak pop fly into shallow left center. That drove in Ramon from second base to give the Purple Knights a 1-0 lead. Korick then recorded the third out of the inning, and for the Dolphins, it will be 1, 2, and 3 due up in their first turn at bat in the bottom half of the first inning. And, of course, I'd like to welcome in David Pizzuto. Dave, you have the starting lineup for the College of Staten Island.
Yes, I do, and it will be a familiar one. Samantha McPherson leads off. She's the young lady up now. Elizabeth Moore bats second. Playing shortstop, Isabel Gallo will bat third. Playing catcher, Claudia Porcaro bats in the cleanup spot. Playing center field, Jacqueline Cateridge, the first baseman, bats fifth. Victoria Whalen batting sixth, the right fielder. Batting seventh is Jessica Carey on the left fielder. The second baseman batting eighth is Gorit Komuhendo. And the DP is number 7, Alexandra Montella. Emily Korick not batting, but pitching for the Dolphins.
1-0 the count on Samantha McPherson, and she fouls that pitch away. In the circle for the University of Bridgeport is Katie Borowski.
Yeah, and she doesn't need a lot of run support, Joe. In fact, her ERA under 1 this season. So Bridgeport has done its job by scoring the 1 run, and Borowski's hoping to stay on form, and it could be enough of a lead for her.
Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on McPherson, and I just took a look at the spray chart for McPherson. Every base hit that I've scored for her has gone to left field with the exception of one that found its way through the right side. So McPherson certainly favors the left side of the diamond as she swings through that pitch for strike 3, and Borowski quickly has her first punch out.
And for Borowski, that is strikeout number 125 on the season. This is her 83rd inning of work. Opponents are batting just 144 against her. She's 9-2. This is her 11th start of the season, her 13th appearance overall.
And her first pitch to Elizabeth Moore is swung on and missed for strike 1. And early in this game, Borowski having no problem throwing that fastball by the first 2 Dolphins hitters.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be hard to catch up with that.
And the 0-1 sails upstairs, evening up the count at 1. And I believe Borowski did face the Dolphins earlier this year. I have the numbers from that start as well. And that's lined into right field by Moore. Throw incoming to first. It's high, but it is backed up nicely behind the plate by Taylor Yates, and Elizabeth Moore's on with a 1-out single.
Yeah, they did have a chance to potentially get more. That's how hard she hit that ball. Sam Ferrari, a little bit errant with the throw, went over the head of the first baseman, Sarah Silver. But Dolphins have a little bit of a start here with 1 out in the bottom of the first.
Isabel Gallo will be the batter. And she looks at that one high for ball 1. Gallo comes in hitting at .271 on the season. Had a good day on Sunday against St. Thomas Aquinas with a couple of base hits in that second game, raising the average just a bit as that swung on and missed to even up the count at 1. I mentioned Borowski has faced the Dolphins this season already, only had to throw 5 innings in that game. Unfortunately, I have the column headers cut off on my stat line, but I think it's 1 run she allowed in that game.
Right, they won 10-1 in that game.
So that would be 1 run allowed. As Gallo swings and misses for strike 2.
Yeah, our intentions were to get on the air about 5:35 to give you a little bit of an ample time for some pregame before first pitch, but we had the internet issues.
As Gallo looks at a called strike 3, and that's the second strikeout of the inning for Borowski.
But one of the things that we didn't have time to set up, Joe, was that these games are pretty big for Bridgeport. If they're able to sweep the Dolphins today, they win the ECC regular season title. They can guarantee at least a tie for first with Malloy. But because they won the head-to-head series with Malloy this season, 3-1, they would win any tiebreakers in that scenario. So 2 wins for Bridgeport means the number 1 seed in the ECC tournament coming up in a couple days.
Dolphins looking to play spoiler and perhaps cause the Purple Knights to rest a bit uneasily this evening, pending the results tomorrow between the Dolphins and Malloy. Those games scheduled for 7 p.m. tomorrow here at the CSI Softball Complex, as that's upstairs for a ball. The count now 1-2.
Yeah, and the Dolphins threw a gigantic wrench into St. Thomas Aquinas' plans on Sunday by taking 1 off the Spartans and putting them down to a record of 16-8 on the season to finish up for them. And, potentially that could have knocked St. Thomas Aquinas out of a potential 2 seed or in contention for the number 1 seed.
Here comes the 1-2 to Porcaro, and she looks at a called strike 3. So Katie Borowski strikes out the side after allowing a single in the bottom half of the first. Our score heading into the second, 1-0 Purple Knights. And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins trailing the Purple Knights after the first inning of play by a score of 1-0. And some more tough luck in the circle for Emily Korek during the top half of the first inning. A couple of weak pop fly base hits, a double followed by a single, both coming with 2 outs, plating the first run for the University of Bridgeport. And in the circle, Katie Borowski looked dominant in her half of the first inning as she set down 3 Dolphins on strikes around 1 base hit.
Right, exactly. So that hits are going to be a hot commodity here for the Dolphins, and they got to keep this potent lineup at bay for the Purple Knights. Keep them right on the scoreboard where they are. Like you mentioned, a little bit of hard luck for Korek in the first, looking to rebound strong here in the second.
I think the big concern for the Dolphins, and you just mentioned it, hits maybe at a premium tonight, but in their 2 games against the Purple Knights this season, no runs and 1 run. So the Dolphins starved for offense in the last doubleheader against the University of Bridgeport. Count 0-1 on Kiana Robinson, and she looks at a ball to even up the count.
Yeah, that's not an indictment against the Dolphins per se, because Borowski has just been tremendous. 83 in the 3rd inning. She's only given up 10 earned runs. It's just phenomenal numbers for her.
And Miranda Hillman, who's also started and got the start against the Dolphins, started game 1 against CSI last time as McPherson catches that pop-up for the first out of the inning. But the Dolphins got a run off of Borowski and not Hillman in that previous doubleheader, as we just mentioned, the 10-1 result in the back end of that pair. That will bring up Sam Ferrari. Ferrari comes in hitting an even 200, and she swings and misses at the first pitch from Korek for strike 1.
Yeah, this is her 19th start of the season, her 21st game. Bridgeport has a team 16-6 this season, all games within the ECC.
And that is in for a called strike 2 to Ferrari.
I think Staten Island and Bridgeport are the only 2 teams that their only games this season have been inside of conference play.
And a defensive swing there by Ferrari to stay alive. And I know the Dolphins had a couple of non-conference doubleheaders scheduled, one against Dominican and one against Concordia of New York, but weather wiped both of those out.
Yeah, and this is a twice postponed doubleheader too, Joe. This was supposed to happen a couple of different times.
As that is lined past the outstretched glove of Caterage for a base hit, and she wanted a throw from Whalen, but that throw not nearly in time, and it's a 1-out single for Samantha Ferrari.
Yeah, almost a carbon copy of what CSI did in their bottom of the first. Smoked single past the outstretched glove of the first baseman, Cateridge, that time. And now Bridgeport is in business with one out.
Haley Kim will be the batter, the 8th place hitter for the Purple Knights. Comes in hitting at .259, 15 of 58 on the season. And she looks at a called strike one.
Now the Bridgeport starts out with 3 straight lefty bats in their lineup, and then you have Haley Kim here towards the bottom of the order with the lefty bat.
As that's slapped over to third, McPherson has it on to Comohendo for one, who wisely does not attempt a relay throw on to first. Dolphins get the force at second, and there are 2 away.
Good heads-up play on both ends by McPherson, understanding how hard that ball was hit. Comohendo had to extend for it, but she made a nice catch, and just like you said, Joe, she was a little off balance on the turn, wisely kept it to herself.
Not often we see that where an infielder makes that heads-up decision to keep the ball and not attempt the throw for no reason at all. So often they like to show off that arm, and we've seen it in baseball and softball at times. There's just no reason to make a throw in that spot, and wisely Comohendo held on to the ball as Sarah Silver takes ball 1 up high.
Yeah, she's been pretty dynamite at second base all season long, at least from what we've seen here at home.
As that one is lined into right center field for a base hit. Kim will go first to third, and on with a 2-out single is Sarah Silver.
I'll tell you who else has been good in the field, Joe, has been Victoria Whalen in right field. All season long, she's been in good position, and that very well could have potentially gone all the way to the wall, but Whalen tracked it down nicely, made a good, clean throw to the cutoff in the infield, and prevents a run from scoring.
And that's something that I spoke about yesterday, how well the Dolphins' corner outfielders have played. And Claudia Porcaro in center had a great day yesterday as well. But a big reason why the corner outfielders have played so well is something you just touched on, the angles they take to the ball in the outfield, whether it be Jessica Carrion making diving catches at the wall or a play like that where Whalen cuts it off in the gap. Their angles have been excellent, and that's a big reason why they've been such a big part of what the Dolphins have been able to do, keeping runs off the scoreboard this season. Purple Knights leadoff hitter Meg McFarland behind in the count, 0-1, as she chops one over to Cateridge at first, and Jacqueline will step on the bag for the 3rd out of the inning. Purple Knights strand a pair in their half of inning number 2. Dolphins come to bat in the bottom half, trailing by a run.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends, live sports and watch parties, to Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island. Be sure to check out the Kettle Black's monthly calendar of events, only at kettleblackbar.com.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins trailing 1-0 heading into the bottom half of the second. But in the top half of this inning, Bridgeport hitting the ball hard a couple of times into the outfield. Fortunately for CSI, those 2 base hits scattered across the inning, and Emily Korick was able to put up the 0. For the College of Staten Island, it will be 5, 6, and 7 due up. Cateridge, Whalen, and Carrion as Jacqueline swings at the first pitch, hits it to second, and it was bobbled for just a moment over there by Marmolejo, but she throws out Cateridge for out number 1.
Yeah, stayed with it. It was hit with enough pace that Marmolejo had time. And 1 pitch, 1 out here registered by Borowski.
That will bring up Victoria Whalen, who had the big blast for the Dolphins in Sunday's doubleheader against St. Thomas Aquinas, a first-inning 3-run homer in Game 2, a game the Dolphins won 5-4. Here she looks at a called strike 1.
For Whalen, that was her team-leading 2nd home run of the year. She homered on the road against Queens College earlier this season.
As that 0-1 pitch is taken up high, evening up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Whalen has the average up to 212 on the season, 11 of 52. Unfortunately for the Dolphins, that's 5th on the team for a CSI squad that's hitting 232 on the season.
Yeah, it's been a lot of baptism by fire for a lot of these young players for the Dolphins, facing some of the Division II's best pitching.
As Whalen swings through that fastball for strike 3, and it's another strikeout for Katie Borowski.
Yep, humming right along and working very quickly as Borowski, too, wants to get her fielders back in the dugout, and the Purple Knights concentrating on their offense. And Dolphins just looking to piece together a start here.
That's 4 early strikeouts for the Purple Knights starting pitcher. Another lefty, as that is swung on and missed by Jessica Carrion, the 3rd lefty in as many games for us between the last 2 broadcasts.
Yeah, that's starting to find out, more and more pitching we see, the more unique styles we see. And that one just got away from Borowski.
One of the very few mistakes she's made early in this game.
Yeah, I mean, she's only walked 23 batters in 84 innings now. And she's only given up 15 extra base hits, too.
And that one's fouled back by Carrion, running the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes. For Jessica Carrion on the season, she is 9 of 56, 161 with 5 walks. She bats here with 2 outs, the count 1-2, and that is swung on and missed for strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Katie Borowski through her first 2 innings of work in the circle. Heading into the 3rd, our score remains 1-0 Bridgeport.
As a student athlete in college, I first got involved with the NCAA at the national level. It was through the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, SAC, gave me an opportunity to advocate on behalf of all student athletes, to affect change and to make an impact. The NCAA is giving the student athlete a platform to voice their concerns and to be able to advocate for what's going to affect their well-being. The policies that are being put in place are speaking towards academics, they're speaking towards well-being, they're speaking towards fairness, creating a culture so that the student athletes have the best experience as possible.
And we're back here on the ECC Network. Our score 1-0 heading into the top half of the 3rd inning. And for the University of Bridgeport in their half of the 3rd, it will be 2, 3, and 4. Marmolejo, Ramon, and Yates due up for the Purple Knights.
Yeah, hanging on to the 1-0 lead. Obviously, they got 2 hits, I think, in that first inning, 2 in the second. Am I right, Joe?
You are correct.
So, couldn't scratch out a run in the second against Corrick. Left runner stranded, but Bridgeport doesn't need a heavy amount of run support for Borowski, but they'd love to put up another couple of runs here, rattle this CSI defense. Should mention, too, Joe, that we do expect some rain in the forecast later. This is obviously game 1 of a scheduled doubleheader. If we do get rain, and if it is significant, we might have to pop off the air, but we'll try to give you enough of a heads up for that. And, of course, we got our live stats going as well. So for those of you tuning in, if we do have to break away due to the wet stuff, there's still live stats for you.
Elissa Marmolejo is the batter, and she looks at a called strike 2 from Emily Corrick. And you mentioned it, Dave, 2 hits in each of the first 2 innings for the Purple Knights. Ironically, they hit the ball much harder in the second. Easily could have come up with a run with how well they hit the ball in the second inning. Did not. And on a couple of weak pop flies in the first, they were able to scratch out a run with 2 away in the inning. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Marmolejo. And the pitch from Corrick is slapped on the ground over to short, handled by Elizabeth Moore. Throw a bit low, but Cateridge makes the catch for out number 1.
It's a gorgeous catch by Cateridge. Good job following through with that, seeing it into the glove, and 1 out. And you mentioned the 2 hits in each inning, Joe. One of the numbers that we always look at is that number in the bottom right corner of the scoreboard, the amount of errors for CSI. And they've been cleaning the field and playing well in the field, and that always helps.
I love to talk about how costly errors can be when they do occur, but I would prefer it if I never had to speak about an error again on either side. I'd like to see the bats pick up the wins and the pitching pick up wins for teams and not see errors factor in, but that has not been the case many times this season as Kyra Ramon is quickly in a 2-strike hole.
3rd straight lefty bat that Corrick will face, top of the order.
And the 0-2 pitch is taken outside for ball 1. Ramon comes in the leading hitter for this Purple Knights team. .397, slugging at .587. And that batting average will rise just a bit right there, as that's just inside the chalk, down into the right field corner. Whalen tracks it down, but into second base standing with a one-out double is Kyra Ramon.
Yeah, good job hitting for Ramon, and she gives her team another start here with one out. Second straight inning that Bridgeport has gotten a one-out hit and a runner on base.
That's another tough luck extra base hit where the Purple Knights didn't hit it all that well. That one ran in on the hands of Ramon. She was jammed, and she was able to muscle it over Cateridge and into right field. That's testament to the kind of hitter she is, as Taylor Yates falls behind 0-1.
Yates, one of only 2 Purple Knights to play and start in every single game this season.
And she pops the 0-1 pitch up foul for strike 2. Yates singled in her first at bat, back in the first. That makes 5 hits in the game for the Purple Knights early, with one out in the third. Here comes the 0-2 from Corrick, and that sails outside for ball 1.
Corrick definitely missed her spot on that last pitch. Good job by Gallo to stay with it outside the strike zone. The runner at second, want to hold her right there.
Comes the 1-2, and that's lined toward the middle, and Moore misplays it. It goes right underneath her glove. Porcaro had trouble scooping it up for a moment, and then the throw to second was a bit low. As
I don't know, that's got to be a base hit, Joe.
I think that's a hit, Dave. I agree.
That's a base hit. Tough luck base hit. I know Moore knew that she could have gotten that one.
That will bring up Samantha Shebe, and going back to that play for just a moment, Moore made what I would contend was nearly as difficult to play just a couple of at-bats ago. When the infield was drawn in, the ball was hit very hard right at her, and she made the play no problem. That time, she had to range to her left just a bit and couldn't get a glove on that ball, as keeping it on the infield would have saved the run.
Yeah, and seeing Emily Corrick's body language after that last hit, she was not happy. And she expected her infield to make that play, because at the very least, you knock it down, can't make a play on it, Joe. That runner is still at third base.
Well, the runner wouldn't have been at third very long after that wild pitch. So the runner moves from first to second. That is Taylor Yates, who is now in scoring position. The count even on Samantha Shebe at 1-1 strike. Dolphins already trailing by a pair.
Yeah, and if you're the Dolphins, you don't want to get unhinged here.
The Purple Knights did get to Corrick in her last outing against them with 6 runs. Not often we've seen Emily tagged for 6 runs, especially here at home.
No, sir. That probably, I think, might be the season high runs yielded by Corrick in that start.
I haven't had the chance to catch up on every road game, as that one's topped foul down the third base line, but I don't think Corrick has given up more than 6 earned runs in a home game that we've covered, and so far we have covered every home game this year. Count 1-2 strikes on Shebe. Kiana Robinson stands on deck. Comes the pitch from Corrick, and that one's grounded over to third. McPherson looks the runner back to second, and that is very nicely done by Samantha McPherson, who throws out Shebe for out number 2.
Yeah, Dolphins have been really good in the field, with the exception of maybe that play that Moore didn't make that was registered as a hit. Samantha McPherson has put up 2 really good plays in the field so far. Keeping that runner at second is big.
McPherson and Comohendo have been shorthanded all season long, have made just about every play they've had the opportunity to make. As Kiana Robinson looks at ball 1. Robinson 0 for 1. And she takes a called strike.
That was a nice inside strike, and Corrick's been wanting that pitch. She's gone to that pitch a lot, the inside fastball.
1-1 strike the count, and that pitch is fouled straight back.
I would have had it, Joe. It's coming right for me.
I think it's better that we had a fence there. As
yeah, you're probably right.
I'm not sure if you caught it.
Because maybe the MacBook would have intercepted it.
Yeah. More likely my iPad. That just seems to be the way it goes for me in these Apple devices, is that one's chopped straight down to the plate foul. But The other day at baseball, Nick Durst made his way into the booth, and I mentioned it to him. He is a beacon for foul balls. We had one coming right for us, and the window saved the equipment. 1-2 the count on Robinson, and that's taken down and away. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a runner on second for the Purple Knights, who lead 2-0. And that's hit well out to left field, but I think Robinson just got under it, and Carrion is there at the lip of the warning track to make the catch for the 3rd out of the inning, but not before Bridgeport extends their lead to 2. They now have 6 base hits in the game and leads the College of Staten Island 2-0 heading into the bottom of the 3rd.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
And welcome back inside the CSI softball complex. The College of Staten Island now trailing the University of Bridgeport by a score of 2-0. And the Bridgeport Bats have been on full display early in this game. Now 6 base hits through the first 3 innings. Dolphins with a 1 in the hit column early in this game.
Yeah, you can make the argument that the Dolphins' fielding is what's keeping the score down to just 2, as Bridgeport has been able to scatter around the hits. A little bit of an unfortunate play that a ball wasn't knocked down did allow a run, but at the same time, Dolphins' fielding has not let them down, and now they just need their bats to wake up against Katie Borowski, who's been lights out all season.
And she's certainly been lights out against this Dolphins team so far in 2021 already, with 5 strikeouts in this game. And the Dolphins are in a very tough spot, trailing by 2 runs early in this one. And you could also make the case in that previous half inning that the most well-struck ball by the Purple Knights went for an out on the final out in the top half of the 3rd, as that one was given a ride out toward the left field wall by Kiana Robinson, and just enough room for Carrion to make the catch at the start of the warning track.
Well, you do know that the Dolphins, especially at the top of the order, do have a lot of power and can drive one over this fence, especially when they're meeting a pitcher who has a lot of power. And so the job here for Comuhendo and Montella after her is to try to get on base and try to get some of the hitters at the top of the lineup to move them over, move them around on home.
Correct. Comuhendo will lead things off, and we spoke about it before the game. Her batting average down around 100, but with the 10 walks, her on-base percentage rivals some of her teammates, hitting far above that mark. And she swings and misses at the first pitch she sees for strike 1. But you said it, Dave. The job of the bottom of the order right now is to get on and potentially give the top of this Dolphins lineup a chance to tie it with one big swing, as Comuhendo is quickly in a 2-strike hole.
Yeah, but you know where Borowski's head is at. She wants to attack. She's not going to, fancy around the strike zone and get batters to go out of it. She's coming right in every single pitch and really daring these hitters to catch up to that fastball of hers.
And why would she dance around the strike zone? She's had no problem throwing that fastball by a lot of these Dolphins hitters so far. Elizabeth Moore really the only one to get a very good swing on a ball and put it in play, as Comuhendo checked the swing but got a piece of that ball, and it goes straight to the backstop.
I guess she did. I didn't have that as a foul.
Yeah, she checked her swing and got a piece. I have a bit more of a favorable angle without the home plate umpire obstructing. So we will see at least one more 0-2 pitch, and that one misses for ball 1.
Oh, it is 2-2. So
she didn't get a piece of that one. Okay. Something got a piece of it as Comuhendo looks at ball 3. Had to be the glove of the catcher Yates.
Yeah, we mentioned Borowski with only the 23 walks. You add 2 innings pitched here, 84.1 innings.
And the 3-2 pitch is swung on and missed by Comuhendo. So instead of the first walk, it is the 6th strikeout for Katie Borowski, and there's one away.
Yeah, a tough break, but Borowski has definitely had great control of the strike zone so far early in this one. And when she needs that pitch, she's going to go back to it. And again, dare the CSI hitters to catch up to it.
That will bring up Alexandra Montella, who's gotten more and more playing time as of late. On Sunday, nearly had 2 base hits in the back half of that doubleheader, but was thrown out from right field on a line drive that one hopped into the right fielder's glove, and it was an easy play on Montella at first after that, and then hit a ball that nearly cleared the head of the shortstop, as that's taken up high for ball 1. As it stands, Montella comes in only 1 of 19 on the season.
Yeah, and I think you got to see her in the field, Joe, at some point this year. I think that was against Queens. But I have yet to see her in the field. She's always been in this DP spot in the batting order.
Well, I don't believe she was in the field long, Dave, as that entry
that was,
led to a series of very confusing events that
they should put that lineup card in the Hall of Fame or something, because that was something else.
That was some game. That was some game. A doubleheader with 2 extra inning games as a part of it, and a weak swing there by Montella for strike 3, who was shaking out the hand after swinging at 2 pitches on the inside corner, and I think that had her a bit uncomfortable up at the plate. So that will bring up Samantha McPherson. McPherson struck out swinging in her first at bat. She entered CSI's second leading hitter at 349, but Emily Korick hasn't had a plate appearance in quite some time now.
Yeah, Korick got shaken up on the road this season, ended up missing 4 games for the Dolphins completely and came back, but only as a pitcher. She has not been cleared to hit. So she's been out of the lineup now. This is game 7 out of the batting lineup, and that's a big bat that the Dolphins are missing, their best hitter.
You would think that keeping her out of the batter's box. We apologize for a brief technical issue that knocked us off the air, but we're back here on the ECC network, and College of Staten Island still trails the University of Bridgeport by a score of 2-0. If you've been with us for the entire broadcast, we thank you for sticking with us, and you didn't miss much, only a couple of pitches, as the count on Haley Kim is 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with CSI softball, if you're tuning in from Bridgeport, the CSI softball complex doesn't have all the amenities that our baseball field has with regards to wired internet and a press box. So we are relying on Sal Caruso's, what do they call that, bridge off
mobile
of the cell
device
phone,
hotspot.
Hotspot. So Sal's internet service provider is going to be really happy with him at the end of this one.
As McPherson makes another nice play over at third, fielded that ball cleanly, and with a strong throw over to first, retires Haley Kim for the second out.
So we thank Sal for the opportunity to broadcast this game, because the CSI wireless has been
fickle at best.
That's generous. It's been horrendous today.
Well, horrendous today, fickle at best over the last several years.
Yeah, but pretty bad today. Getting upload speeds of about 1.2.
That is some heavy-hitting upload speed right there.
Yeah, that's like AOL when it first came out.
Yeah, they had the little the gold icon and the beeps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I want to go on my phone, which also has no internet on campus, and try and pull up that sound. We can return from break with it. As the 0-1 is in for a called strike 2.
Yep, but sometimes internet is pretty smooth out here, but you know, it's going to be one of those nights, Joe, where you got rains coming in and all this other stuff.
As Emily Korick quickly retires Sarah Silver on strikes for the third out of the inning. And it's a 1-2-3 top half of the fourth for Emily Korick, her first 1-2-3 inning of the game. Our score remains 2-0 heading to the bottom half of the fourth.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins trailing the Purple Knights by a score of 2-0. First 1-2-3 inning of the game for Emily Korick in the top half of the fourth, and that brings CSI right back to the plate, trailing by a pair. 2, 3, and 4 due up for the College of Staten Island.
Well, Samantha McPherson had her second turn against Borowski, and now the rest of the CSI lineup gets its second chance here against Katie, and we'll see what changes they've made in their approach. But it was Moore who had the single, right, for CSI, the only base hit of the game so far for the Dolphins.
The Dolphins hoping for more, well, another base hit, but instead she pops out to second quickly on the first pitch of this half inning for out number 1.
And since that hit yielded by Borowski, she's been perfect through the CSI order, 9 up, 9 down. Now it'll be up to Isabel Gallo here with 1 out.
You can see it, Dave. The Dolphins have just been a bit late on their swings, a lot of weak pop-ups and swing-throughs early in this game. I said it earlier, and it still holds true. Elizabeth Moore with what has been easily the best contact of the night for CSI, and Isabel Gallo takes up high for ball 1.
Yeah, and again, it's, you know, if you're a CSI batter, you want to stay obviously aggressive because Borowski has just been living in the strike zone, and that time she puts one up.
Isabel Gallo 0 for 1 with a strikeout, 1 of 7 strikeout victims in this game.
Yeah, and if you're Gallo, you figure, you know, she put one up, she's going to lay one right across the heart of the plate. It's exactly what she did, but Gallo just couldn't catch up to it.
Borowski clearly throwing hard as that one's fouled away for strike 2. Taking a look, Dolphins have struck out 129 times in 527 at-bats so far this year. That's about 1 in 4. It's almost exactly 1 in 4. As the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Gallo is a strikeout victim for the second time, and Claudia Porcaro will be the batter.
Yeah, you know, it's hard to believe that Borowski only has 4 shutouts this season, Joe, and this is her 11th start, but with an ERA of 0.85. I mean, 4 shutouts is nothing to scoff at. That's an outstanding mark, but you would think with a minuscule ERA that she has, that might even be more. So,
watching this game, you might be a bit surprised to find she only has 1.5 strikeouts per inning. As that one's down in the dirt for a ball, but over the course of a 7-inning game, that's over 10 punch-outs.
Yeah, the Dolphins were victims of strikeouts against Carissa Della Vecchia. She's the other, you know, strikeout queen of the ECC this season alongside Borowski, and I think she got 12 on the Dolphins, at least in game 1 of that doubleheader on Sunday.
Well, I could be wrong, but Della Vecchia may also be the home run leader in the ECC with 8. I don't have the stats for every team in front of me, but I can't recall anyone else being very close. As Porcaro hits one on 1 hop over to second base, and she is thrown out for the final out of the inning. Dolphins go down 1-2-3 once again. They trail by 2 heading into the 5th.
For me, just kind of was the glue that kept my family together, I feel like. I don't know what it was that drew me in, but after I started playing for a while and started seeing some early success as a little kid, to see how much it meant to my parents to see me play the game and try to make a difference was really what fueled me to keep playing and stay competitive. Being a triple major is not necessarily easy, but at the same time it is what you make it. Being a tighter-knit university, I have a lot of classes with the same professors, so they know me pretty well. I think it's that personal relationship that really helped me to thrive as a student. I was able to come here and get my triple major, as well as play a super high level of baseball against some of the best players in the country. There's a lot of options here in Division II with a lot of great ball players and a lot of great people, and they make sure that they give you every opportunity to succeed on and off the field.
And we're back here on the ECC network with an update of our weather forecast for later in the evening. And when we came onto the air, it had 70% of the area receiving rain beginning at about 9 p.m. And that number is now down to 40 for 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. So that's an improvement over where we began the evening. But as Dave mentioned at the top of the broadcast, inclement weather could shut us down if the rain becomes too severe. But right now we are covered. And worst case scenario, we could pull the camera down and continue to provide some voice just to get the camera out of the elements. And we'll see. Hopefully that is not a decision we have to make, as the first pitch of the fifth inning is taken for ball one by Meg McFarland. McFarland 0 for 2 in the game.
And for Bridgeport, which is, tried to play this game against CSI last Thursday and then again yesterday, they just want to get it in and out of here and don't want to have any more delays because of rain, that's for sure.
Well, it pushes their final game much closer to the conference tournament that they will be a part of, and they hope to enter that tournament as the number 1 seed. You mentioned it earlier that if they can win both of these games, they will lock up that spot.
Bridgeport was the ECC preseason favorite as well, so that would make good on the promise that they had coming into the season.
2 balls and 1 strike to count on McFarland, and she looks at that pitch low for ball 3.
And what's otherwise been a pretty wild season in the ECC, Joe. I mean, obviously, COVID notwithstanding, you have Bridgeport with 6 losses, Malloy with 6 losses, St. Thomas Aquinas and Mercy both with 8.
So that's hit well out to left field, chasing Carry-On back, but she makes the catch for out number 1. And taking a look at the Dolphins' schedule, they have a victory against every team they have seen 4 times except for Dieuville.
Right, which is the other provisional team within the ECC, the other Division III transitioning team.
I think it's fair to say the Dolphins were a much different team the second time they faced Dieuville as opposed to those first 2 games. But in that second go-round against the Saints, they were without Emily Corrick.
They were, and they had to take that trip up to Buffalo, 8 hours on a bus. Oh, sorry about that. Scoreboard shielding us, but yeah, they had to be on a bus there and have the long trip back. And even the first time they played Dieuville, Joe, Dieuville had a couple of games already under their belts. And for CSI, they were only a few days on a softball field.
As that one chases Carry-On toward the left field line, and she makes the catch for the second out.
So CSI has played Dieuville under adverse circumstances twice. And they'd love to steal 1 and, of course, 2 against this Bridgeport team. That would be a nice feather in their cap, closing out 2021.
So Kyra Ramon will be the batter. And speaking to those games against Dieuville for one more moment, is there any favorable circumstances surrounding the trip to Buffalo that involves the team traveling out to Dieuville and then returning on the same day as Ramon is thrown out for the 3rd out of the inning? So it's another quick 1-2-3 inning for Emily Corrick in the circle. That's 2 consecutive. Dolphins come to bat in the bottom of the 5th, still trailing 2-0.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins still trailing by a pair. Our score 2-0. Purple Knights over CSI heading into the bottom half of the 5th. It will be 5, 6, and 7 due up for the College of Staten Island with Jacqueline Cateridge, Victoria Whalen, and Jessica Carry-On set to come to the plate. Right now, the only Dolphins base hit still belongs to Elizabeth Moore.
Yeah, the Dolphins need to get something started here, Joe. I mean, obviously, they're going to need not 1 but 2 runs. And, the Dolphins haven't tried to lay one down yet in this one, try to make the Bridgeport fielders work and run, on the infield. So perhaps that's an option. But really, they have just been late and haven't been able to get around on anything that Borowski has offered.
And with each passing inning, putting 2 runs up on the scoreboard for the College of Staten Island seems to be like an increasingly big ask. As I mentioned it already, they only have 1 base hit. They haven't run many deep counts either, as it's been Katie Borowski just throwing the ball by most of these Dolphins hitters. Entering this half inning, I believe Borowski in the game now has 8 strikeouts, and she has 6 swinging, 2 looking, entering the bottom half of the 5th inning. So that's an average of 2 punch-outs per inning for Borowski, as Jacqueline Cateridge steps into the box and fouls back the first pitch she sees for strike 1.
Cateridge got a decent bat on the ball the last time she was up. Just couldn't push it out into the outfield.
Taking a look down the Dolphins lineup, Moore and Cateridge are the only 2 Dolphins hitters who have not struck out yet in this game. The next 4 hitters due up for CSI all struck out in their first plate appearance. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count on Cateridge, and that's hit well but foul. Cateridge just a bit late on that one.
Right. Yeah, they just haven't been able to get around on any of these pitches. Seen a lot of balls kind of, fisted in that direction to right field, but kind of fighting it off.
Cateridge has shown the ability to get around on that Borowski fastball. She's behind 1 and 2 here, and she fouls back another one.
Yeah, but every one of these swings by Cateridge works in her favor, and I'm working on that timing. Borowski hasn't taken anything off of these pitches. She just keeps coming in with the fastball, trying to work the corners. That one was on the outside corner.
Here comes the 1 and 2 pitch, and that is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Cateridge strikes out for the first time. She's now 0 for 2, and Victoria Whalen will be the batter.
Unfazed, Katie Borowski sees Cateridge fighting off, still continues. That was high in the strike zone, rising ball that Cateridge, I'm sure, hit in her mind, but just was about 4 inches over her bat.
And the first pitch to Whalen is chased upstairs, and she swings right through it for strike 1. Whalen struck out swinging in her first at bat. I mentioned earlier she came in hitting at .212, but with 20 strikeouts on the season, one of 3 Dolphins who have struck out at least 20 times. Jessica Carrion stands in the on-deck circle. Whalen behind in the count, 0-2. And she swings through that pitch for strike 3 as Whalen just looked overmatched on that fastball. And they are quickly 2 away. So Jessica Carrion will come to bat with the bases empty and 2 outs. She's 0 for 1, struck out swinging in her first at bat. For the Dolphins this year, entering this game, Whalen, Porcaro, and Comuhendo had all struck out at least 20 times, and Carrion had struck out 18. No other Dolphin entering tonight's game had struck out more than 10 times.
It's a very unorthodox season, obviously, because it's short, doesn't allow you time. Dolphins didn't have a spring training to kind of get timing down, but head coach Eric Kraut's going to have some thinking to do this offseason, knowing that some of his young players have played really well in the field, have kind of matured into their positions, but their bats have got to be a little bit more dynamic going forward against these very, very good, national pitchers who demand national attention. That's what the ECC softball has been all about.
And the 1 and 2 pitch is tapped back toward the circle. Not an easy play for Borowski, and the throw gets away. It rolls toward the Purple Knights bullpen. And into second base standing is Jessica Carrion. That will be an infield single and an advance on the throwing error.
Yeah, base hit for Carrion that gets extended via the throwing error by Borowski. And the Dolphins have a runner at second base with 2 outs for Gorit Comuhendo. Try to extend this inning.
Komohendo 0 for 1, struck out swinging, and I was about to make the point, Dave, to build upon what you were saying. The Dolphins, to start, need to put the ball in play and force the defense for the opposition to make some plays in the field. And a play like that is a perfect example. Not a ball that's hit particularly well, a dribbler back to the circle, but it turned into a tough play. You have a batter with great speed hitting out of the left-hand hitter's batter's box, and Carry-On beats it out, forces the throwing error. Now the Dolphins have a runner in scoring position with Komohendo now ahead in the count 2-0.
And after committing an error, now Borowski's come upstairs for 2 straight balls. But said it kind of going into this half inning, Joe, about the Dolphins haven't thrown down or haven't even feigned a bunt attempt in this game, just to keep Bridgeport on their toes, just to keep their infielders in, maybe having to backpedal out of a swing. So, the Bridgeport's infield especially has been very, very relaxed. And, sometimes in order to spell a hot pitcher like this who's throwing some serious gas out there, just laying one down right in front of her. And we saw Carry-On do that, not via the bunt, but forces a bad throw. Next thing you know, got a runner at second base.
Maybe the Dolphins are tired of hearing what I think about the bunts. As the 2-0 pitch to Komohendo is in for a called strike 1, and you had to think Gorette would be taking all the way there ahead 2-0, and that Borowski would just look to throw one as hard as she can over the heart of the plate.
Yep, especially after a talking to by Yates.
Perhaps overthrew that one as it sails upstairs for ball 3.
Yep, and Komohendo will not move that bat an inch on this next pitch. So Borowski now will be challenged to find the strike zone here.
Here comes the 3-1. Well, that's why we're not coaches, Dave, as Komohendo swings on 3-1 and comes up empty.
No, so much for that. Either way, I think that would have been a high strike in the strike zone anyway.
I've made similar bold declarations all season long and been wrong most of the time, as Carry-On takes third base, and very fortunate for the Dolphins that Yates didn't throw that ball, because it would have hit Komohendo right in the face.
Yeah, Komohendo kind of sidestepped, and now we're going to have a timeout called for a visit in the circle with runners on the corners now. And Joe, it's that old runner on the corner situation, except now the Dolphins have that advantage, and Bridgeport wants to talk things over just in case the Dolphins start getting fancy on the base paths.
Well, Dave, I think the Dolphins will probably try something here. They have their 9th place hitter at the plate. I'm not sure what that something will be, but they have 2 runners on base with good speed and a struggling hitter at the plate in Montella, who did hit the ball well a couple of times on Sunday, but like many of the Dolphins in this game, looked overmatched in her first at bat. Took 2 pitches in on the hands, or I should say offered it 2 pitches in on the hands, but appeared a bit uncomfortable after making contact with those 2 pitches in her first at bat. Went back to the dugout trying to shake out, I believe it was the right hand. So we'll see what Montella's approach is here as she comes to the plate with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Dolphins trailing by 2. If they could pick up one of these 2 runners and get on the scoreboard for the first time, that would be huge.
Yeah, and I think this is a good timeout that was called by head coach Dawn Stearns, because like I said earlier in the inning, this Bridgeport defense has been very comfortable out there. This is the first kind of real situation, if you will, that they have to deal with for now. This is the 5th inning. So good job by Coach Stearns to kind of calm everybody down, get everybody on the same page, and focus on what to do here.
As Montella swings at the first pitch, I think that would have been out of the strike zone, as she's behind in the count 0-1.
Yeah, you're looking at the plate. I was looking squarely at Komohendo to see what she was doing at first, but nothing doing.
And that's a defensive cut by Montella.
Yeah, and Borowski knows it. Borowski knows that Montella is a little bit overmatched here, hasn't really been close with these.
After a swing like that, if you're Montella, might want to just sit dead red, and she swings through that pitch for strike 3. I'm not sure why the Purple Knights felt the need to throw to second. Komohendo would have been in there safely, but it does not matter as Montella is a strikeout victim and the inning is over. Our score remains 2-0 Purple Knights heading into the 6th here on the ECC Network.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service. so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet, heading into the top half of the 6th inning. Our score remains 2-0 in favor of the Purple Knights. But for the College of Staten Island in the bottom half of the 5th, their best opportunity of the game goes by the wayside.
Yeah, but still a little bit to grow on in that inning. Towards the bottom of the order, the Dolphins just scratching things out, forcing a bad throw in the infield, maybe gives them something to think about as the top of the order comes up next inning, and how to make these Bridgeport fielders work a little bit and try to manufacture something.
I think the takeaways from that half inning for CSI are don't chase bad pitches and put the ball in play. And
right.
If you're the Dolphins, you can hope for the best from there, as many of the CSI hitters have looked overmatched against Katie Borowski so far tonight. Taylor Yates, the batter, leading things off for the Purple Knights in the top half of the 6th. She's 2 for 2 with a pair of singles against Emily Korick.
Interesting to see how Emily reacts from this. Korick, as that was the first prolonged amount of time she's had to spend in the dugout.
And a diving attempt by McPherson comes up empty as that one gets into left field for a base hit.
Yeah, nothing much Samantha McPherson can do with that one except offer at it. Went right underneath her body as she sprawled to get it. And Bridgeport now with nobody out, base runner on.
That makes 3 singles in the game for Taylor Yates, as Samantha Shebe shows bunt, and that is bunted foul.
First hit since the 3rd inning for Bridgeport. They were held hitless in the 4th and 5th.
And for the Purple Knights, that is their first leadoff base runner of the game. And it's apparent very quickly that in that situation they are looking to bunt, and those are 2 very tough pitches to bunt for Shebe, as I think Korick was throwing those 2 fastballs in on the hands with some purpose.
Right. Understanding what Shebe's looking to do. Try to handcuff it, and Shebe, I think, did well just to make contact with that last one. He tried to kind of manufacture it down the line, but spins foul.
Have to try and protect the fingers in that spot, too. Not always easy to do. Here comes the 0-2 pitch, and that one's fouled away toward the Purple Knights dugout, and I think that spooked Kyra Ramon.
Well, they had a cup in the fencing, and it popped right in front of her. Popped right out. Perfect hit.
Count remains 0-2 on Shebe. Yates the runner at first. And a good defensive cut to stay alive as Shebe got a piece. And Korick is just completely baffled.
Shebe knew it, but her team was like, run, run, run.
I think everyone knew it except the Purple Knights bench. As I think the umpire had a smile for us, too. We certainly knew it. He knew it. The batter and pitcher both knew it. Maybe they were trying to sell it to no avail. So the count remains no balls and 2 strikes on Shebe, and she slaps one foul. A couple of defensive cuts by Shebe to stay alive in this at-bat. She's fouled off 5 straight.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, she's looked really comfortable fouling those last couple off, too, you know. Just knowing she needs to stay alive in the at-bat. She wants a pitch that she could drive and spoils a couple.
Well, that's how you waste those tough off-speed pitches. Not always easy to get a bat on those when you're out in front off balance. As that 0-2 pitch misses outside, Korick went away with the fastball on that one.
Yeah. Yates is 2 for 3 in stolen bases. She's at first base.
Comes the 1-2, and once again a defensive cut as Komuhendo tries to step on first to get the out there, and they had the play at second. I'm not sure why Komuhendo went to first there.
I don't know. I mean, that's going to be a base hit on the play.
Has to be.
An infield hit, yeah, of course. But it's one of those tough luck plays that are kind of unexplainable. You know, you don't see it in the box score. They don't show up there. But
that's an incredibly tough break for the Dolphins, and Emily Corrick in the circle specifically is.
Yeah.
Purple Knights now have 2 on with nobody out. We've seen no fewer than 3 base hits like that in this game already that have been little flares off the bat. A couple landing in the outfield, that one landing on the right side of the infield as the Dolphins wisely let that ball roll foul for strike 2.
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfectly placed bunt if it stays fair. No play whatsoever, but down to her final strike is Robinson, so I don't know if she'll be squaring up to bunt here.
0-2 the count, and that's ripped into left field, but just foul.
Yeah, Bridgeport has been 0 for 2 as far as unsuccessful sack attempts, back-to-back batters, but almost just better swinging away. So, a flare single in the infield, and that was one healthy cut by Robinson.
Sure was, and here comes the 0-2. That's hit softly on the ground to second. Another chance for Komohendo. Wisely throws to second. More covers, and they force out the runner at first. Shibi for out number 1, and that daunting situation we've seen time and time again. Runners on the corners, less than 2 outs in this spot, and we'll see if Eric Kraut wants to have a word with his team. He is realigning his infield.
No question that Bridgeport will be running to second here, trying to draw a throw. Bridgeport will either have runners at second and third, or there'll be a play at the plate.
There goes the runner. Gallo's throw skips to second, and that throw way off target to the plate. Now, Moore really didn't come up and cut that ball off, as we've seen. Kind of reached behind. The throw wasn't great, and then the throw back to the plate was even worse. So that didn't work out.
And Gallo hesitated just a second. I think she wanted Moore to kind of meet it, but Moore's throw was errant anyway. That's a pair of stolen bases.
So a pair of stolen bases credited on the play. Purple Knights now lead 3-0, and that's fouled away.
That's a big run, too. I mean, you'd think that a 2-run lead is safe when you have Borowski in the circle, but certainly that third run, very important. Bridgeport knows it. That's why they manufactured that run. Why Coach Stearns wanted to sacrifice over to third in the first place, and it works out for Bridgeport.
I hate to Monday morning quarterback, Dave, but if you're the Dolphins, that throw needs to be cut off. You cannot let the run come home like that if you can avoid it. Right. And I think the play was to cut the throw off. It just wasn't executed, so It's not an indictment on the strategy, but it needs to be executed in that spot.
Right.
3 runs seems like such a tall task right now against Katie Borowski. And now with that strikeout, Cork is 1 out away from limiting the damage to 1. And, of course, if you have runners on second and third and you pick up that strikeout, you're now 1 out away from escaping unscathed.
Right.
So Haley Kim will be the batter after Samantha Ferrari goes down on strikes. Kim 0 for 2, and that one's popped up foul into the Dolphins' dugout. Dolphins needed to be nothing short of perfect in the field in this game. Even with that, they could still be trailing by a run or 2.
Right. And, we say it a lot. We say it a lot in softball and in baseball that sometimes it's not necessarily the errors, but it's the plays that you could have made that you didn't. And that play by Komohendo earlier in the inning, the one that went under the glove of Moore earlier in the game, I believe that was in the 3rd inning, that led to another run. Those little things, again, no errors credited. They don't deserve to be errors, but they end up being huge moments of the game. And when you're able to execute those plays, the scoreboard looks a lot different.
That's a good point you just made. I had already forgotten about the Komohendo play, which would have put us with 3 outs in the inning, 1 batter sooner, as Kim grounds out to bring the top half of the 6th to a close, but not before the Purple Knights scratch out 1 more. They now lead CSI 3-0 heading into the bottom half of the 6th.
My dad was a soccer coach and bought this little book bag. I could sit in the book bag, like facing backwards and with like my legs out. So I'd be in his book bag when my dad coaches and the ball's going around. I'm like kicking at the ball in the back. And my dad was like, we have a prodigy. So he put me into soccer and it just progressed from there. The catalyst was the opportunity to play soccer at a Division II school. On my team, I thrive to work as hard as I can. I mean, whatever you do on the field, there's a positive correlation to whatever else you do, be it personal relationships, homework, the way you carry yourself. I've changed since I got to King University. It's really helped me to develop as a leader. I think it's honestly the best thing that's ever happened.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet, and the comeback road for the College of Staten Island just got a bit more difficult in the top half of this sixth inning as the University of Bridgeport scratches out one more run behind some small ball. And we said it before the break, Dave, the plays that could be made in this game costing the Dolphins, no errors up on the scoreboard, but when you couple those plays that could have been made with only 2 hits for CSI, it's awfully tough against a pitcher like Katie Borowski.
Yeah, sure. And and then you see in the box score, a double steal, first and third situation. That stuff, makes you mental at the end of a season. And I know we've seen it a bunch of times, and I know it's something that the Dolphins will continue to work on as they mature and get better with every game. Learning process, and Dolphins still have their cuts. 6 more outs to go, and top of the order now for CSI.
CSI is going to make something happen. Now would be the time, as you said, Dave, top of the order, leading things off for the Dolphins in the home half of the 6th. And Samantha McPherson looks at that pitch low for ball 1.
Should mention, Joe, that the temperature is dropping a little bit here at CSI. We can already start to feel it.
And McPherson hits that one out towards shallow right, and making the call is Ferrari. Wisely so, a much easier play for the right fielder over the second baseman, and McPherson is retired for the first out.
One of the things we always say here at CSI is that whatever the temperature is, whatever the wind is, you add a few miles per hour to that wind, you drop the temperature a few degrees because it's always colder. So if it's about, mid-60s right now, it's about 60 here.
That is the price to pay for some primetime softball the next 2 nights. And we get underway 1 hour later tomorrow, 7 p.m. start, between the Dolphins and the Lions of Malloy College. This game, the first of 2 between the Dolphins and the Purple Knights. And Dolphins down to their final 5 outs in the game as Elizabeth Moore is quickly behind in the count 0-2.
Borowski would like to strike out every member of the Dolphins team. Moore's the only one.
And she won't pick up that punch out here as that's tapped back toward the circle. And nicely done by Borowski coming off the rubber to throw out Moore for the second out of the inning.
Yep, nice job with that righty glove of hers. It's now down to Gallo here as the Dolphins are down to their last out in their next to last inning.
Well, not only has Borowski kept the Dolphins off the scoreboard, but she's done so very efficiently. Only 73 pitches so far with 2 outs here in the 6th. As Isabel Gallo fouls that one back. Gallo has struck out in her first 2 at-bats, once looking and once swinging.
Yeah, and with the exception of that last inning, Joe, the 5th inning, Borowski's worked very quickly as well. So, again, her fielders haven't been in the field long. This Bridgeport team has spent a lot of time in their own dugout.
I would go as far as to say that at least 5 of the 8, or I should say 5 of the 7 players out in the field for Purple Knights really haven't had to move much in this game.
The outfielders really haven't done much of anything except for the right fielder, Sam Ferrari. But this game itself, I mean, we started early. 5:45 we got underway, but we're only an hour and 24 minutes in.
My official time of game right now is 1 hour and 17 minutes. So this game is moving along quickly, and with inclement weather on the horizon, potentially, we sure hope not, but the forecast indicated that would be the case when we came onto the air. A quick game might not be such a bad thing.
No, not at all. And we might even see an abbreviated, rest period between these two teams because there is a little bit of urgency to get this second game in because the weather has been in the forecast, pretty much all day as far as later in the evening. We heard Joe mention the percentages have gone down, but it's still there. It's still looming.
We hope not to contend with that.
Nope.
Here comes the 2-2 pitch to Gallo. That's up high for ball 3. And we talk all the time about the impact of the weather on the broadcast. I'm sure the athletes out in the field don't want to be playing in any rain either.
No, definitely not. And the coaches, especially Coach Stearns for Bridgeport, knowing her team has a playoff game in a couple days, you do not want to risk injury here because of a sloppy field conditions in a game that, potentially only really, it's just playoff positioning at this point. ECC playoff field is set with Bridgeport, Malloy, Stack, and Mercy.
Here comes a 3-2 pitch to Gallo, and Gallo continues to fight off pitches foul. So compared to her first 2 at-bats, Gallo doing a much better job of catching up to that fastball. And
yeah, her second at-bat, Joe, she was fouling a bunch of balls off as well. And then just, leapt at one upstairs and swung through it. But she's had a couple of good at-bats.
Another payoff pitch upcoming from Borowski. And that's down low for ball 4. So a great at-bat from Isabel Gallo will bring Claudia Porcaro to the plate. And Porcaro has struggled over the last couple of games. I should say 3 games now, last couple of doubleheaders. She's 0 for 2 in this game. Struck out looking and grounded out. Porcaro really hasn't moved from the 4 and 5 spot since about the second week of the season. She was hitting near the top of the order early on, but
yeah, I think she led off the first couple of games.
She
if
did.
I'm not mistaken.
She did. The lineup we have today has been relatively what we've seen throughout the season, minus, of course, Emily Corrick at the top of the order. You could shift everyone else down 1 spot, and that's been the typical Dolphins lineup.
That's correct, and, of course, missing her has been huge for the Dolphins because you also miss your biggest speedster on the base pads as well, keeping the infielders honest when she is on base, letting the pitcher think about her.
And Porcaro takes up high for ball 1. That runs the count to 1-2. Dolphins hoping to get the tying run to the plate. They could give Cateridge a chance here if Porcaro can get on.
Yep. If anybody's due, it's Claudia Porcaro.
Comes the 1-2. And that's looked at for a called strike 3. So Porcaro goes down looking for the second time in this game. And heading into the 7th inning, our score remains 3-0 Purple Knights.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
And we're back here on the ECC Network. CSI trailing 3-0 heading into the 7th inning. And for the Purple Knights, it will be 9-1-2. Silver, McFarland, and Marmolejo due up for the Purple Knights as they look for some insurance in the 7th.
Yeah, so at this point, Joe, they are comfortable. 3-0 score. Borowski on the, in the circle. You want to feel really confident, but 1 or 2 more runs scratched out against Corrick wouldn't hurt either. Corrick basically in 4 innings has given up 2 hits, and in 3 out of those 4 innings, that's when Bridgeport's been able to scratch out a run.
Well, we said it already. If the Dolphins had been immaculate out in the field, this could be a 1-0 game right now. But 2 plays that weren't made, one on a sharply hit ground ball towards Elizabeth Moore, and another one with Gorette Comuhendo electing to try and step on first base instead of throwing to second, opened the door and afforded the Purple Knights an extra out that allowed them to scratch out 1 run in the 3rd and another run in the 6th. And then that first inning run on 2 weak base hits. So the Purple Knights have made the most of their chances to their credit, and Katie Borowski has shut the Dolphins down in this game. First pitch of the inning from Emily Corrick is up high to Sarah Silver for ball 1. Silver 1 for 2.
And that's what I always say, Joe, about the really good teams, especially at this level, is they don't need much of a window. You give them a little bit of, give them an inch, and they need to take a yard, and that's what good teams do. They They, the slightest mistake, the slightest opening you give them, you walk somebody, you fail to step, it's a fielder's choice instead of an out. Those things come back to haunt you.
And that one's lined right back up the middle into center field for a base hit. For Silver, that is her second single of the game in 3 at-bats, and it's back to the top of the order with Meg McFarland.
Yeah, so just the 4th and 5th, every single inning, Bridgeport has had at least 1 hit. We have a pinch runner coming into the game. Grace Derrida, the freshman, will come in to run.
Is that a special pinch runner's jersey there with the long sleeves, or?
Yeah, it's.
Is that the equivalent of a pitcher's jacket to keep you warm out on the base pads?
I don't know. It has the number on it. And
sure does.
Very fancy.
That's a big budget squad right there. It's the first pitch to McFarland, just pulled toward the hole on the right side, and Comohendo made that play look easy as she has to wipe the dirt out of her eyes after fielding that ball.
Yeah, nice job. That time, 1 out. Dolphins get the out that they want.
Comohendo has been great in the field for the College of Staten Island all season long.
It's an important out for the Dolphins to get.
Yes, an important out. As we await the out on the scoreboard here. It was playing tricks on us out in left field. And speaking of outs, there's another out recorded on the base paths as Derrida attempted to steal third base, testing Isabel Gallo, and Gallo is up to the challenge.
Yeah, Gallo with a great throw and Moore with the catch. 2-6 caught stealing, 2 outs. That's a nice job there for the Dolphins.
2 away now, and Alyssa Marmolejo is the batter, and she takes a called strike 1. Marmolejo 0 for 3, has grounded out twice and flown out in 3 at-bats.
1-1 is the count.
And that is in for a called strike 2. So Emily Korick now 1 strike away from facing the minimum after allowing the leadoff batter Sarah Silver to reach on a single.
Unconventional.
As the 1-2 pitch just misses. That evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the 2-2 is lofted into left. And Carry-On is there to make the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. So the deficit will be 3 for the College of Staten Island heading into the bottom half of the 7th. Last chance for the Dolphins after this break.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can. And then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we're back here on the ECC Network. College of Staten Island down to their final 3 outs in Game 1 of this East Coast Conference softball doubleheader. For the Dolphins, it will be 5, 6, and 7 due up. They trail by 3 in the bottom half of the 7th inning. As the first pitch of this half inning to Jacqueline Cateridge is in for a called strike 1.
Yeah, a 3-0 game, it's still in reach, but Borowski's made this kind of a ho-hum type of affair.
As that could be a good start to the inning for the Dolphins. It is, as Cateridge hit a few balls that way, foul in her last at bat throughout the game. Finally tucks one inside the right field line for a leadoff single.
Yeah, she has swung the bat very well. I mean, she did have the one strikeout, but otherwise has been getting good hacks at it, a couple good foul balls, and that one again, a little bit behind the ball, but was able to get it out into the outfield in open space. One of a few that have hit green in this game, Joe.
Very few that have found their way down.
Wow.
As Victoria Whalen takes a called strike one. We had a massive hawk just perform a flyover in the outfield and is now disappearing into the trees beyond the center field wall, but we couldn't help but notice.
That was going to take Haley Kim away, scoop up and take the shortstop with her. that was really low. That's scary.
That is one large hawk as the count evens at 1 ball and 1 strike on Victoria Whalen, and it's very possible that he made an appearance on the screen. Here comes the 1-1, and that swung on and missed for strike 2. Whalen did get a piece of that ball, but it winds up in Yates' glove. As it looks like Dawn Stearns has emerged from the Purple Knights dugout. Has a word with the home plate umpire quickly.
Yep.
Just a re-entry from the previous half inning with the pinch runner. No 20-minute delay necessary, as we saw earlier this season.
Sal Caruso, our statistician, was all over that. Recognized it right away and got it even before it was official.
So the count on Whalen, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And she taps him back toward the middle of the diamond, backhanded over at second by Marmolejo, but the throw is not in time. So the Dolphins with back-to-back base hits to open the bottom half of the 7th, and CSI is in business. They now have the tying run coming to the plate.
Yeah, so look at this. It gets a little interesting here with nobody out still. And again, that's just a routine ground ball up the middle, but right past the outstretched hand of Borowski. Her glove in the other direction, so she couldn't backhand it with the glove. Good things happen.
And don't chase and put the ball in play, Dave.
Yeah, and the infield way in on carry-on.
I'm not sure how you can give up an out bunting here, trailing by 3 with the infield this far in. And I think carry-on wise to swing the bat, and assuming that she's getting the signs from Coach Kraut, I think that's the right move.
Yeah, and with the sheer force that Borowski throws at, if Carrion could just get, the head of the bat on that ball, she can, drive it right into some open space.
I don't see how Robinson could field anything off a swing at third here. That's a good bunt by Carrion, and she beats it out. So what do I know, Dave, as Carrion lays down an absolutely perfect bunt in between the circle and third, and now the Dolphins have the bases loaded with nobody out, and Garrett Comuhendo coming to the plate.
Yeah, and Comuhendo with that small strike zone of hers. And Emily Korick has a bat in her hand, Joe.
Haven't seen that in now, I think, a couple of weeks since the last doubleheader before Sunday's pair against Stack.
Yeah, and she on deck would be coming in from Montella.
So an interesting turn of events here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The Dolphins load the bases on 3 soft base hits. A flare just inside the right field line by Cateridge. A soft grounder toward the middle of the diamond by Whalen that left the Purple Knights with no play. And a perfectly placed bunt single by Jessica Carrion. And Garrett Comuhendo comes to the plate now, and it should be very interesting to see what the Dolphins look for her to do here. I assume she has to swing.
Suicide squeeze here, Joe, maybe.
That would be bold.
I would not put it past them.
As Comuhendo swings through the first pitch for strike 1, but you mentioned it. Emily Korick stands on deck. It would be the first at bat in a home game for Korick in quite some time. Here comes the 0-1 to Comuhendo, and that's up high.
Yep. And if you're Comuhendo, obviously you want to stay very patient. Borowski's got to come to you, know where to put you, small strike zone and all that.
Here comes the 1-1. That's in for a called strike 2, and I wouldn't have been shocked if Kamohendo looked until she had 2 strikes in this at bat, but she swung at the first pitch.
Yeah.
Count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Kamohendo chases out of the strike zone for strike 3. So that's a big strikeout for Katie Borowski to pick up the first out in the inning. And Emily Korick is coming to the plate to hit with the bases loaded and 1 away.
So Korick must have just been activated in the last few minutes.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously she was out of the lineup. Yep, so the Dolphins lose their designated player in Alexandra Montella. And Korick is into the game in the 9th spot, still pitching.
So for Korick here, a well-placed extra base hit could tie the game. And judging by the looks of the Purple Knights outfield, they are not playing no doubles. They're pretty far in the corner outfield positions. The infield corner positions are in, anticipating the possibility of a bunt. I'm sure the Purple Knights have the scouting report on Korick.
It's the first lefty batter that Borowski's faced on the day.
Comes the 0-1. And that misses outside. And if you're Korick, first at bat of the day coming in against a pitcher who's throwing very hard. That last pitch was number 100 for Borowski. As the 1-1 is swung on and missed for strike 2.
Yeah, Korick's got to keep that head down and drive that bat. That time her head was in the clouds as she swung at that one, Joe, looking up.
She could not have gotten back into the box any faster as she swings through that pitch for strike 3. So Emily Korick goes down on strikes, and that will leave it to Samantha McPherson.
Yeah, and Borowski wants to get out of this jam, and it would be a big jam to get out of. Bases loaded, nobody out. Dolphins down to their final out, and hey, if you didn't want Korick up in this spot, Joe, certainly would like to see Samantha McPherson.
McPherson could certainly give the Dolphins the win with one big swing. An extra base hit could tie the game as that's hit to straightaway right. And coming in to make the catch is Ferrari right along the right field line. If she doesn't make that play, that is trouble, but that will do it for Game 1 of tonight's East Coast Conference doubleheader. The College of Staten Island strands the bases loaded in the bottom half of the 7th, and they drop the first game against the University of Bridgeport Purple Knights by a score of 3-0. We are not sure if there will be an abbreviated break in between games or not, but we anticipate being back on the air anytime between 15 and 30 minutes from now. So until then, thank you for watching. Be sure to join us right back here for Game 2 between the Dolphins and Purple Knights. And welcome back inside the CSI Softball Complex for Game 2 of tonight's East Coast Conference doubleheader. In Game 1, the University of Bridgeport defeated the College of Staten Island by a score of 3-0. The Purple Knights looking to clinch the top spot in the East Coast Conference with a victory here in Game 2. In the circle for the College of Staten Island is Nicole Rivera, and the first pitch she throws in the game is off the elbow of Meg McFarland, who will be awarded first base.
Yeah, the lineups are very similar to Game 1. Meg McFarland, who we just saw get hit, is batting first and playing center field. Number 11, Elisa Marmolejo, second baseman wearing number 11. And then after her will be the left fielder, number 13, Kiara Ramon.
That one's bunted to third. McPherson's throw handled nicely by Komohendo, who looks the runner McFarland back to second, and there's one out in the inning.
Beyond the number 3 spot, we have Taylor Yates in cleanup position, the shortstop. Third baseman, Kiana Robinson bats fifth. Batting sixth is the catcher, Hope Lincoln. That's a new bat in the lineup. Batting seventh, Samantha Sheeby. Batting eighth, Sam Ferrari in right field. And batting ninth is Sarah Silver.
The first pitch to Kyra Ramon is in for a called strike one. Very quickly, the numbers for Nicole Rivera on the season. For Rivera, this is appearance number 10, her 8th start. She's pitched to a 1-5 record, picked up her first victory on Sunday as Gallo does a nice job to keep that one in front. That victory improved Rivera to 1-5 and 33 in the third inning. She's allowed 58 hits, 55 runs, 42 of those earned. She has walked 23 and struck out 7 with an 11.34 earned run average. As her 1-1 pitch is fouled back by Ramon for strike 2.
For Nicole Rivera, her first collegiate victory on Sunday. A very strong performance where she did, or was responsible at least, for the 4 runs that were yielded, but 5 2/3, very strong innings, and then Emily Korick came in to save the game.
As that one's grounded up the middle for a base hit, being held at third is McFarland, and that's a good hold over at third base as she would have been dead to rights at the plate. Throw cut off by Cateridge, who hands the ball back to Rivera and will now face Taylor Yates with runners on the corners and 1 out.
Dolphins, when they get their turn, will face off against Miranda Hillman, the true number 2 for Bridgeport, who will get her 12th start of the season. But Bridgeport is awful stingy, and we saw how well they played defensively as well.
Showing bunt was Yates, throw to second, cut off by Moore, and McFarland didn't even take 1 step off of third base. So the Dolphins allow Ramon to steal second, and now there are 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Yates behind in the count, 0-1 after she took a strike. Base hit here could play to pair. And that one swung on and missed by Yates for strike 2. You mentioned Hillman, the true number 2 for Bridgeport University, has 2 shutouts on the season. One of those came against this CSI Dolphins team. And that's it out towards center, chasing Porcaro back towards the wall, and that's off the fence. 2 runs will score, and Yates is into second base standing with a 2 RBI double. That puts the Purple Knights ahead 2-0 in the first. Strong start for the University of Bridgeport against Nicole Rivera. That is their second hit of the inning, but that one went a long way, hit halfway up the center field wall.
Yep, dead center field too. So Yates got all of that one. 2-run blast.
And the first pitch to Kyna Robinson is taken down low for ball 1. And that one is pulled foul, evening up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Second straight game, the Dolphins will have to come to bat down on the scoreboard. They fell behind 1-0 early to the Purple Knights in game 1, and able to strike off at least the 2-run lead here with just 1 out. Yates at second base. They'd love to score her in as well.
Here comes the 1-1, and that sails outside for ball 2. Dolphins falling behind on the scoreboard early in this game. The temperature is falling fast here at the CSI Softball Complex. The sun has set over the College of Staten Island. The lights are on, and many players not electing to wear the long sleeves under the jerseys as that's hit right at Porcaro in center, and she makes the catch with 2 hands for out number 2. Advancing to third is Yates. And coming to the plate is Hope Lincoln, who I believe is the sole addition to this Bridgeport lineup.
Right, with the exception, obviously, of Hillman in the batting order anyway. First look from Hope Lincoln, the senior.
And Lincoln takes outside for ball 1.
You can also hear the wind whipping up in our microphones, too. As Joe mentioned, the temperature dropping, but also the wind kicking up a little bit. We hope it doesn't have rain coming in behind it.
As Lincoln takes a called strike, Lincoln comes into tonight's action hitting at .296, 8 of 27, so a limited number of plate appearances for Lincoln. She'll be doing the catching in this one as she fouls back that pitch for strike 2. Yates is the runner at third. She doubled in a pair. Nicole Rivera looking to limit the damage in the top half of the first. She's 1 strike away from keeping the Purple Knights at 2 runs, and Elizabeth Moore with a chance to do just that, and she does as she throws out Lincoln for the 3rd out of the inning. 2 on the scoreboard for the University of Bridgeport in the top half of inning number 1. We head to the bottom half of the first. Dolphins trailing 2-0.
Hobra, a taco joint, Staten Island, where we're proud to have shared our family-first spirit with people from throughout New York City and the world. With indoor dining available both at the bar and on the floor. Or step outside for additional seating and an outdoor bar. Serving beer that's crisp, ice cold, and worthy of a day at the beach. Cocktails that explode with flavor. And great food made with the freshest and healthiest ingredients available. Events feature food and drink specials, live music, and the best of Staten Island nightlife. Your CSI Student ID saves you 10% on your dine-in order at Hobra. Visit us at 412 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Once again, the Dolphins facing an early deficit in Game 2 of tonight's East Coast Conference doubleheader. And after being shut out by Katie Borowski in Game 1, they face Miranda Hillman in the back half of this doubleheader. Hillman comes in having appeared in 12 games, 11 of those starts. She has pitched to a 2.77 ERA, a record of 4 wins and 4 losses. In 60 2/3, Hillman has allowed 68 hits, 27 runs, 24 of those earned. She's walked 18 and struck out 44, opponents hitting at .273 against her.
Yeah, so the numbers drop from Borowski to Hillman, but Hillman has been a very good starting pitcher for this Bridgeport team, a team that's 17-6 now and 1 win away from earning the #1 seed in the ECC upcoming tournament. At worst, they can finish tied atop first place. But they own the tiebreaker against Malloy, the only team that can catch them at this point. And as for Hillman, she will face a very familiar CSI lineup. Dolphins go identical to Game 1 as far as their batting order.
They don't have many options as McPherson takes a strike.
Not at all, but we did see Emily Korick swing a bat, and of course the promise of her getting back into this lineup as a regular starter, of course her opportunities are fading fast. Dolphins' last doubleheader's tomorrow.
Comes the 1-2 to McPherson, and that's outside for ball 2.
But just to go over it, Elizabeth Moore is on deck, the shortstop. Gallo bats third, the catcher. Claudia Porcaro at center field. Katie Ridge at first base. Victoria Whalen bats sixth in right field. Jessica Carey on the left fielder.
As McPherson hits one well out to deep left field. That one heading back toward the wall, and it is gone. A leadoff home run off the bat of Samantha McPherson has cut the Purple Knights' lead in half. A no-doubter off the bat of McPherson makes the score 2-1.
Great piece of hitting there by Samantha McPherson. Put that one right over the wall, no doubt about it. And, that was the first time Kiara Ramon in left field, Joe, has had to backpedal back there. And the Dolphins have cut the Bridgeport lead immediately in half, just like that. One swing of the bat, 2-1. And that's got to be a big burst of confidence. Dolphins' first hitter of the game taking one over the wall.
And that is as prolific a home run as I've seen hit here in quite some time by a Dolphins hitter. That one, a no-doubter over the left center field wall. Ramon gave it a courtesy look, but that one well beyond the left center field fence. As Elizabeth Moore is ahead in the count, 1-0. And she takes a strike on the inside corner. For McPherson, that home run, her second of the season, which gives her a share of the team lead. I can't recall more than one game where McPherson was held hitless this season either.
Yeah.
Comes the 1-1 to Moore, and that's pulled foul.
Moore swung the bat well against Borowski in the first game, had a base hit.
Moore hitting only at 182 on the season, and with some of the extra base hits she's had, driving the ball deep into the outfield gaps and really getting some good swings, you would think, just based on the eye test, her average was a bit higher than that, but not so, as she's behind in the count, 1-2 strikes here, and she takes low for ball 2.
She also had one of the loudest swings of the season when she hit a grand slam home run against Mercy, a game the Dolphins would end up dropping in extra innings.
That one of the toughest losses of the season for this Dolphins team. As Moore takes ball 3, so Hillman struggling a bit early in this game. Gave up the leadoff home run, now has run the count full on Moore. Here comes the 3-2 pitch, and Moore hits one right into the glove of Kiana Robinson over at third base for the first out.
Yeah, Robinson, perfect position. That's exactly where she positions herself on most at-bats and didn't have to move a muscle. And that's got to feel good for Hillman, registering that first out of the game, letting her fielders do their work.
Isabel Gallo will be the batter. And she takes on the outside corner for strike 1. And taking a look at Gallo's spray chart, talk about a hitter who drives the ball to all fields. Gallo certainly fits that description. 0-1 the count on the Dolphins catcher. And Hillman's pitch is popped up in the air towards first base, and Sarah Silver's there to make the catch for the second out.
Yeah, not enough power on that swing to drive it, just caught it up top.
That's a way to bounce back from a no doubt about it solo home run to open the inning. 2 quick outs for Hillman, or maybe not necessarily so quick with the Moore at bat, seeing a full count, but very soft pair of outs following that home run as Claudia Porcaro looks at a called strike 1.
Yeah, Hillman with the 44 strikeouts in the 60-plus innings. She's not an overpowering pitcher, not someone who's going to pick up 8-10 strikeouts a game, so she relies a lot on her defense.
Between the two of these pitchers, not much reliance upon the strikeout. As we mentioned, Nicole Rivera's strikeout numbers on Sunday. 1-1 strike the count on Porcaro. And she takes on the outside corner for a called strike 2. Strikeouts have been up for Porcaro over the last 4 games now. Really 3 games plus, with this being her first at bat of the 4th.
Can you see what
Here comes the 1-2, and
this guy needs?
Porcaro chops that one foul.
Oh, it's for that team, Sal.
1-2 strikes remains the count on Porcaro, as we had a delivery of utensils incoming for Bridgeport being brought to the scorer's table, and Porcaro is called out on strikes yet again. That fastball finds the outside corner for strike 3, and the Dolphins will settle for 1 in the bottom half of the first. Our score 2-1 through the first inning here on the ECC Network.
car is damaged, where you take it is your decision. But insurance companies would like you to think otherwise. While they may have a lot of pull, it may not always be in the best interest of your car. Your car will be fixed right and on time. What insurance company can argue with that?
Call Dependable Auto Body at 718-447-4899.
And welcome back inside the CSI softball complex. Dolphins and Purple Knights put 3 runs up on the scoreboard in the first inning, with the University of Bridgeport leading by a score of 2-1. But if you're the Dolphins, you have to be a bit encouraged about the swings you got against the starter for the Purple Knights, Miranda Hillman, in the first inning, especially with that home run by Samantha McPherson.
Yeah, and Nicole Rivera being able to squeeze out of trouble in that top of the first. We'll see if she can piece together a strong inning here. A little bit of a rebound effort after that 2-run inning for the Purple Knights in the top of the first.
The Purple Knights with a good game at the plate in Game 1, nearly cracking double-digit hits. They finished with 9. As Rivera's pitch misses down low for ball 1. Samantha Shebe is the batter. Shebe, the designated hitter in this game for the University of Bridgeport. And she fouls that pitch back. Dolphins will hope for an outing from Nicole Rivera, similar to her outing on Sunday, where she pitched well. Picked up her first collegiate victory in that game. Emily Korick was credited with the save in that one.
Yeah, she really kept the Spartans hitters off balance in that game, Joe. We saw a lot of players kind of, reaching in the dirt to hit some balls. Some players who just couldn't keep the ball in fair territory down the left field line, getting too much ahead of it. And Rivera provides that counterbalance to Korick's, hard-throwing style.
The Spartans were in attack mode on Sunday. They were waiting to jump on any fastball they received from Dolphins pitching, and whenever Korick would go to that drop pitch or Rivera would take a bit off, it certainly had them off balance. 1 ball and 2 strikes, the count on Shebe, and that's chopped right back to the circle. Good play there by Rivera, who throws out Shebe for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, another really strong defensive play for the Dolphins in the field. They did not have an error in that first game. I know I tempt fate when I say that, but they've been really good in the field. A couple of plays that they maybe could have made that they didn't, but otherwise pretty clean. And a play like that goes a long way. Instead of starting the inning with a base runner, is 1 down.
And Samantha Ferreri will be the batter. But we talked about it a bit on Sunday, touched on it. This Dolphins team has certainly improved from the start of the season, and that's to be expected with how little time this team has spent together and with the new coaching staff over the last couple of years now. But that one's popped up in the air over towards third, and McPherson will make the catch for out number 2. One of the areas where the improvement has been most apparent is in the field. This team has been very good defensively over the last couple of weeks, and in that season opening doubleheader, errors really doomed them. We saw errors once again, a problem against Queens, but really since that doubleheader, all of the games we've covered have featured very strong defensive play from the Dolphins.
For sure, and people have to keep in mind that this is a provisional Division II squad in the Dolphins. They've only had 1 recruiting class of scholarship players, so they're a team that, maybe their record doesn't indicate it, Joe, but they feel like they belong on this level, and they're matriculating towards that. And I think for this season, win or lose this game or the next 2 against Malloy, it's been, a competitive one for them, a growing one for them, and one that kind of solidifies their place in this conference and, of course, in this division.
No doubt about that, as this team has certainly proven they belong.
Yeah, and they've carried themselves that way, too. They've never looked like out of place or like maybe that this stage was too big for them. That poise goes a long way.
So that one's fouled away yet again. Can Whalen get there? No, she cannot, as that lands just inside the fence down in the right field corner. The count remains 0-2 on Silver. Even the Bats have done a better job as the season has gone along, too. They've been fairly consistent between 220 and 230, but they've now gotten up above the 230 mark entering action tonight. And, of course, you'd like to see the average for the team far higher than that, not just a bit higher. But the improvement has been there nonetheless. It's the count now. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Silver, and she hits one well out to left field, but I don't think she got all of it as Carrion is there to make the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. So it's a 1-2-3 top half of the 2nd for Nicole Rivera. Dolphins will trail by 1 when they come to bat in the home half of inning number 2.
Kettle Black on Staten Island, a top 5 wing joint in America by Food and Wine magazine. Serving daily lunch and dinner at the bar or on the floor. Perfect for family and group parties with top shelf drink and delicious food. From great times with good friends. Live sports and watch parties. To Staten Island's hottest nightlife. The Kettle Black features live music and DJs weekly. The Kettle Black features daily and nightly food and drink specials. The best Staten Island has to offer is at the Kettle Black. We'll see you there at the Kettle Black, located on 415 Forest Avenue, Staten Island. Be sure to check out the Kettle Black's monthly calendar of events, only at kettleblackbar.com.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins come to bat trailing 2-1 in the bottom half of the 1st inning. It will be 5, 6, and 7 due up for the College of Staten Island in the home half of inning number 2, beginning with Jacqueline Cateridge. Cateridge got the 7th inning started with a base hit in game 1. That 7th inning saw the Dolphins load the bases, and Samantha McPherson would get a chance to come to the plate with 2 outs in that inning and potentially win it, but McPherson was retired to bring the game to a close. Emily Korek also got her first at bat in quite some time as Cateridge hits the ball well to right field yet again, and for the 2nd time they will attempt to throw to first on a ball hit sharply out toward right field tonight, but once again to no avail.
Well, Cateridge stole my thunder. I was just about to say that she's swinging one of the best bats that I've seen on this entire Dolphins team, and she didn't allow me the chance to kind of predict a hit for her. But all the same, she still swings that really good bat these last few weeks. Has been really crisp.
Victoria Whalen is the batter, and she looks it high for ball 1. We took a look at the spray chart for Cateridge ahead of that at bat, too, and she's another Dolphins hitter that really distributes the ball well across the diamond, and the majority of her hits coming down the lines, which is usually an indicator of being a bit out in front or a bit late, but nonetheless, she has been one of the Dolphins' most effective hitters at the plate, and the numbers attest to that.
Now Whalen should get something pretty juicy to hit here. 2-0 pitch upcoming for Hillman. Runner at first that she has to peek back at a couple of times.
2-0 the count on Whalen, and she takes high for ball 3. And I said it heading into the top half of this inning. The confidence has to be there for the Dolphins after that 1st inning, as so many of these CSI hitters were just overmatched by Katie Borowski in game 1, a bit late, having a tough time catching up to her fastball. And to see Samantha McPherson open the game with a home run like that had to energize this Dolphins team and give the entire lineup a bit of confidence ahead of their first turn at bat.
Yeah, and you got to imagine being up there and in the batter's box. Obviously, Miranda Hillman is a tremendous pitcher, but when you're facing someone like Borowski and then you switch it up to Hillman, it seems like, oh, now I can really hit.
It's a matter of just getting around is right there. Whalen swings through that fastball for strike 2, but simply, as I said, a lot of these Dolphins hitters just couldn't get around on what Borowski was throwing. Count full on Victoria Whalen. We'll see if they send Cateridge here on a 3-2 pitch. She stays put, and Whalen fouls that pitch back. Also for the Purple Knights, they swung the bats well in game 1. They have plenty of reason for confidence coming into this inning as well, but they already had gotten into the hit column several times in the early game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They had 9 hits against CSI's ace pitcher.
As Whalen hits one well out to left field. Taking a look up is Ramon, and that one is long gone. Victoria Whalen with a 2-run homer, her second home run in the last 3 days, and this one gives the College of Staten Island a 3-2 second inning lead.
Yeah, what a towering shot. You know, we said the earlier home run, there was no doubt about it, by McPherson. Well, that's Whalen's second home run in 3 days, and one just as gorgeous as the next. I mean, that was, you know, she had a towering shot on Sunday. That was just as good. A nice one there, and it gives the Dolphins their first lead of the entire evening, 3-2.
Whalen showed up McPherson a bit with that shot, Dave. That one was at least 30 to 50 feet over that left field wall.
Right. And, you know, it all came, you know, Joe, with, you know, on the full count, where she was patient enough to see the first few pitches through. Hillman knew she had to come in with a strike, runner at first base, made her pay.
Jessica Carrion will be the batter. Dolphins with their first lead of the evening. For the Purple Knights, looking to clinch the top spot in the East Coast Conference regular season standings. Perhaps a bit nervous about this result right now, as it's still very early in this game. Carrion ahead in the count 1-0, and she takes high for ball 2.
Now, Joe, we can't see it, but I can hear a ball hitting a mitt. There it is. And it looks like Katie Borowski is warming up again for Bridgeport.
Not surprising, and you know, if you're the Dolphins and Nicole Rivera in the circle, you know how important this 1-run lead is right now. With Borowski potentially looming, having shut out the Dolphins in game 1 is, wow.
Yeah,
That's strike 1, but Carrion didn't think so.
Yeah, neither did Sal to my left.
Or myself to your right. 3-1 the count on Carrion. And she hits one on the ground over to second. And Marmolejo handles that one easily and throws out Carrion for the first out of the inning. That will bring up Garrett Komuhendo, the Dolphins' 8th place hitter. Komuhendo got a chance with the bases loaded in the 7th inning of game 1 and was set down on strikes. Komuhendo, one of several Dolphins to opt for the long sleeves ahead of game 2, and I think that was a wise move.
Smart girl there. We went to the long sleeves, I think, in the 2nd inning of the last game.
I was there ahead of first pitch, Dave.
I went full coat in like the 5th.
I was going to break out that trench coat. I had it in my hands, about to walk out the door, but I thought that with how long it was, it might give me a problem sitting on the bleachers, so I opted for the jacket instead.
I assure you there's no problems here, Joe. Trench is working just fine.
Well, that's good to know ahead of tomorrow's doubleheader. I might need it then, as Komuhendo takes a called strike 3, and there are quickly 2 away following that Whalen home run.
Yeah, good bounce back for Hillman here, bottom of the order, looking to, you know, get her fielders back in the dugout to try and do some damage offensively. Montella looking for an opportunity to get back to the top of the order with her being on base.
So Alexandra Montella is the batter. She takes a called strike 1, and with the top of the order due up for the Dolphins in the 3rd, I think the chances we see Hillman return to the circle are slim. But we will see what the Purple Knights can do in the road half of the 3rd inning.
We don't hear that thumping anymore, so at this point, it looks like if Borowski is warm, she's warm enough to enter the game at this point if called upon.
We need to mic up Sean Fitzpatrick, who's taking photos from the visitors' dugout right now, and ask him what's going on in that bullpen, though. I think we'd hear the mitt popping from there anyway, as Montella is quickly set down on strikes for the 3rd out of the inning. Dolphins trail by a run heading into the 3rd when we come back.
My path to a college degree would have been completely different had I not run Division II cross country for the University of Mount Olive. Having an athletic and academic scholarship was key for my success. Our coaches were really helpful with balancing out my academics and athletics. I decided to attend graduate school because I wanted to become an athletic director. Receiving the postgraduate scholarship through the NCAA provided me with the flexibility to choose the school that I wanted. So now I know that I can accomplish any goal that I set for myself.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins now leading for the first time tonight against the University of Bridgeport. Our score 3-2 heading into the top half of the third inning. And just to recap the bottom half of the second, it was Victoria Whalen who hit a monster shot over the left field wall, easily clearing the fence by anywhere between 30 and 50 feet, giving the Dolphins the 3-2 lead that they carry into the top half of inning number 3. For the University of Bridgeport, it will be the top of the order, 1, 2, and 3, due up for the Purple Knights, with Meg McFarland getting things started against Nicole Rivera.
Yeah, so through 2 innings, both teams have brought up their entire batting order, and we'll start with the top of the order again, kind of like a reset of inning number 1. And Rivera with a little bit of a longer layoff in her dugout. Gets a chance to come out here and trying to keep the Purple Knights with zeros up in the scoreboard as she did in the second.
Rivera opened the game by hitting McFarland with a pitch in the leadoff hitter's first at bat for the Purple Knights, and then very quickly things escalated from there, and 2 runs were home 3 batters later on a Taylor Yates 2 RBI double. That's how the Bridgeport University runs were put up on the scoreboard in the first. And right here, we count 2 balls and 1 strike on McFarland. Comes the 2-1, and McFarland lays down a bunt. Rivera scoops it up and throws on over to first, as Rivera made that play look easy for out number 1.
Yeah, what a really great play in the circle for Rivera, just to extend on the pitch, gather, stay in control, and throw a perfect strike to Caterage.
I spoke about it during the baseball doubleheader on Saturday, how important it is to make those plays on bunts. As you fail to make one of those plays, sometimes it can get in a pitcher's head and lead the other team to believe that they can continue to lay those down. And before you know it, you've seen 3 or 4 bunts go in the scorecard as base hits. As that slapped through the left side for a base hit by Alyssa Marmolejo, and Marmolejo's on with a 1-out single.
Yeah, good piece of hitting there, right through the outstretched gloves of both McPherson and Moore. Perfect spot through the left side of the infield, and with 1 out, a base runner to work with.
That ball placed perfectly on the slap base hit through the left side, right in between McPherson and Moore. As Kyra Ramon is the batter, and Ramon has had to watch 2 home runs sail over her head and over the left field wall in this game. She's 1 for 1 at the plate with a single back in the first, and that's hit well out to left field, but Carry-On is right there, and she makes the catch for the 2nd out.
Yeah, she got a good piece of that ball, but again, just kind of golfed it up in the air. And Carry-On, who's been brilliant all year in left field, makes the play routinely. And down to their final out here. Cleanup hitter, Taylor Yates.
As I just mentioned a few moments ago, Yates responsible for the 2 Bridgeport University runs up on the scoreboard. A 2 RBI double in the first inning gave the Purple Knights an early 2-0 lead. That lead has since departed. Each team with 3 hits in the game. For CSI, 2 of their 3 hits have gone over the wall, as Whalen can't make the catch in right field. We'll see how that one is scored.
That's
tough.
One. Base hit, says Sal Caruso. She was coming in on a line, had to have the glove right about the kneecaps. Joe, I don't know if I would disagree with that.
That is a tough ruling for the official scorer. I would not fault either ruling on that play, though. If I'm the pitcher, immediately I'm throwing up the 3 fingers for the error, but that's the pitcher in me. So I'll try and score this very quickly ahead of the next at-bat, as the Dolphins will cut off that throw, and there's no one covering second either way, as the runner over at first kind of slowed up. Yates just stopped about 5 or 10 steps from second base.
She absolutely wanted to get caught in a rundown to allow the run to score.
As that one is ripped foul by Kiana Robinson, and that was a bit of an early swing that if a fraction of a second later is taken, this could easily be a 2-run Purple Knights lead. That ball was hit well. Here comes the 1-1 pitch, and that's it out towards right center field. Porcaro is there, and she makes the catch for the final out of the inning. So the Purple Knights strand a pair in scoring position. Their deficit is 1 heading into the bottom half of the third.
Being a champion takes more than talent, more than the perfect pass, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the spirit to always push harder, the ability to overcome any hurdle, and the fire to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create. And the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. And Dave, as we anticipated ahead of this half inning, it is Katie Borowski returning to the circle for the University of Bridgeport with her team trailing by a run. They hope she can keep this deficit right where it is.
Yeah, we saw her warming up pretty much to our right, 3 o'clock. And now she comes in to get her 8th inning of work. And probably for the duration of this one, as Hillman unable to escape after the second inning, yielding the lead. And so Borowski looking if her offense can overturn the deficit for her second win of the evening. And then, again, Joe, it speaks to how big this game is for Bridgeport. I mean, at this point, they've guaranteed themselves a home semifinal series, but they want that number 1 seed, and that would mean they need to win this game.
Well, Dave, if the Purple Knights cannot pull this game out, the Dolphins do hold on, I think we're going to have some extra viewers tomorrow night between the Dolphins and Lions, between those fans and fans of the University of Bridgeport, and potentially some players tuning in here on the ECC network tomorrow night.
Yeah, as I'm sure maybe some Malloy players are tuning in right now.
As McPherson fouls that one straight back and spooked some of us seated here at the scorers table for just a moment. And I won't name names, but we had some shrieks and some flinches, and I'll refrain from calling them out right now. As McPherson's behind in the count 0-1 and takes downstairs for a ball, evening up the count at 1.
But just to paint the picture, if CSI wins this game and Malloy wins both of their games tomorrow against CSI, then Malloy gets the number 1 seed. And Malloy, I believe right now, is on a 14-game win streak. So they are the ECC's hottest team right now. It's either 12 or 14. I'd have to check that.
As McPherson hits one hard off the glove of Marmolejo, but she recovers in time to throw out McPherson for out number 1.
And only because she hit that really hard, McPherson, is she out on the play, because if that had a little less pace to it, maybe it's an easier play for Marmolejo to make, but she would have had enough time to make it to first.
Elizabeth Moore is the batter. Moore 0 for 1, lined out in her first plate appearance and fouls back that pitch for strike 1.
The velocity is a lot different, though, between Hillman and Borowski. You could see it just from the naked eye. So the Dolphins have to adjust again to the harder throwing Borowski. 7 shutout innings in the shutout win in Game 1.
As Moore fouls back another one, and you can see, even in this at-bat alone, that Elizabeth Moore is starting to get the bat around on these offerings from Borowski. Swings are a lot better than what we saw in Game 1. Each Dolphin got one look at Miranda Hillman before Borowski came back in as Moore lines one through the left side and into left field for a base hit. So the Dolphins have a one-out base runner, Isabel Gallo, coming to the plate.
We have not seen a lot of balls hit on a line down the left side from the right-handed hitters of the Dolphins. And again, as Joe alluded to it speaks to the timing that the CSI batters are starting to get.
You almost would think that only one look at Hillman rather than Moore, as That one gets back to the backstop and allows Elizabeth Moore to take second base, but getting only one look at Hillman instead of multiple at-bats against Hillman and then having Borowski come back in, that might be of a benefit to these Dolphins hitters. Of course, CSI got the 3 runs against Hillman and seemed to have their timing down against her, but rather than adjusting to a new pitcher for several at-bats over the course of several innings, 1 plate appearance, and then right back to what you saw for 7 innings in Game 1.
Yeah, for sure. And that passed ball now puts a CSI runner in scoring position.
Oof, as Gallo fouls that one back.
Umpire almost got hit twice as that one ricocheted off the backstop and landed in the batter's box as well.
We saw one of the umpires take a shot straight to the chest protector on Sunday. He stood in there completely unfazed.
Stoic, yeah.
Didn't even come out of his umpiring stance. Just kind
Everybody
of
else was like, are you all right?
remained there, and he was good.
Yeah, like rigor mortis back there. Didn't move a muscle.
As the 1-2 pitch finds the zone for a called strike 3. So Borowski right back at it with another strikeout as Gallo is sent back to the dugout. A strikeout victim for out number 2. And Claudia Porcaro will be the batter.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're a Bridgeport fan after yielding a single in the manner in which Moore got it, you are really happy to see that rebound effort.
As few Dolphins could use a hit more than Porcaro right now, and she pops out on the first pitch she sees for the final out of the inning. So the Dolphins strand 1 in scoring position. They are turned aside in the 3rd. Our score 3-2 heading into the 4th. And we're back here on the ECC Network. Dolphins leading the Purple Knights by a score of 3-2, heading into the top half of the 4th inning. After 2 runs got put up on the scoreboard for the Purple Knights in the 1st, Nicole Rivera has shut the door on Bridgeport through the 2nd and the 3rd, as we had our statistician Sal Caruso attempting to stay warm through dance ahead of the start
and that was some
of
dance
inning
too.
number 4, and it was some dance as he's joined by our public address announcer Alberto Sanchez, who I hear has now tried his hand at play-by-play commentary in esports. Haven't gotten the chance to hear it yet, but I will certainly have to tune into any future broadcasts featuring the great Alberto Sanchez on the call.
Definitely.
As for the Purple Knights, in their half of the 4th, it will be 6, 7, and 8. Lincoln, Shibi, and Ferreri due up for the University of Bridgeport against Nicole Rivera, who finds the strike zone with her first pitch of the 4th inning. Lincoln 0 for 1, grounded out in her first at bat, and she takes up and away for a ball. One ball and 1 strike, the count on Lincoln. And there's a good off-speed pitch from Rivera, who is throwing with some real confidence right now in the circle.
Yeah, that was a very similar swing that we saw on Sunday from some of the stack hitters. Just a little out in front of it, trying to reach in front to grab that one.
As that's popped up, is that landing on the 10th? Yes, it is.
I knew it. I knew it.
Did that come through the middle?
I had my, well, it definitely hit one of the 10s, but I definitely had my hands up knowing it was going to hit me here. But we are well protected. We probably see that on a replay at some point.
Comes the 1-2, and that's it on the ground to 3rd. Nice play by McPherson on that short hop, and she throws out Lincoln for the first out of the inning.
Another really good play. McPherson with great positioning, sees it in the glove, and extends on the throw, throws it right through first baseman Jackie Cateridge.
Samantha Shibi will be the batter. Shibi 0 for 1, also grounded out in her first plate appearance. There's a nice snag in the circle by Rivera to retire Shibi in her first at bat. Purple Knights designated hitter ahead in the count 1-0 right here. As that one's hit out toward right, Whalen is there, and she makes the two-handed catch for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, anything hit in the air with a chance for the outfield is going to get caught. At least, that's what we've grown accustomed to here this season. We've covered some games, softball, baseball, where those become adventurous, anything hit in the outfield. But Dolphins have really shown that they can handle anything hit out there and make up ground as well, as has Bridgeport. They've played well in the field as well.
Samantha Ferreri is the batter behind in the count right here, 0-1 after that foul ball. And we've spoken about the improvement of this Dolphins team defensively all season long, as that's hit out toward shallow right center, and Porcaro bailed on it. I think she believed Comohendo was going to make the play, and right as I praise the Dolphins defense, it's tough luck hit.
Thinking the same thing. That's got to be caught, and that's the center fielder's ball.
Not sure why she bailed.
Yeah, you got to call Comohendo right off of that, as she had to come into the outfield for it. I mean, listen, it's a tough play. There's a lot of real estate to cover for Porcaro, but again, that's one where if something happens here in this inning, the Dolphins are going to look back on that play and say, it's not an error, it's definitely a hit, but it's a play that needs to be made.
Well, the point I was going to make wasn't about the Dolphins' defense. I was referencing how we'd spoken about the improvement of the CSI defense, but also a major reason for CSI's improved play is the work of Nicole Rivera in the circle. She's steadily improved throughout the season, and you can see that on full display not only tonight, but also in Sunday's second game against Stack, where she picked up the win.
Yeah, the thing that I see with Rivera, too, is that, I'll say it after this pitch,
as that is swung on and missed.
I feel like she's trusting her stuff a lot more. I feel like when she first came on in the circle, she was overthrowing a lot, balls going way high, trying to throw, out of her body. Instead, she's trusting her stuff more. She's being patient. She's not afraid to work the corners, throw a ball or two in the at-bat, let the batters chase, and understanding when she needs a strike, she can deliver one. And it's a sign of a good, confident player, young player, true freshman.
As that's hit well out to left field, and that one is caught by Carrion, as I think Sal thought that ball was gone.
So
Dave, you sure thought that ball was
Definitely.
gone, but Sal apparently didn't think it was gone. He's shaking his head. I don't know. I heard some grunting and groaning over there from Sal, but we head to the bottom half of the fourth inning. Our score remains 3-2, CSI over the University of Bridgeport.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
And we're back here on the ECC Network. The Purple Knights making a home run bid on the last swing of the previous half inning. Sarah Silver took Jessica Carrion out toward the warning track, but Carrion had enough room to make the catch. And we have already seen 2 home runs in this game, both belonging to the College of Staten Island, and those 2 home runs accounting for all of the CSI scoring so far. They lead 3-2.
Yeah, we said it towards the end of the game 1, where the Dolphins are no stranger to the long ball and using it to score runs. And, now it weren't able to push one through in that first game, but holding on to a 1-run lead in this one. Looking to get a couple more here as we approach the second half of this game.
It will be Jacqueline Cateridge to lead things off for CSI in the home half of the fourth inning. Cateridge has swung the bat well tonight. Had a hit in the 7th inning of game 1, another base hit here in game 2. She's 1 for 1. Ahead in the count, 1-0 here. She chops one right back to the circle, and Borowski throws on over to first to retire Cateridge for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, so Cateridge, who's been swinging a good bat, chops one right back to the pitcher, and now Whalen is up. Obviously, the 2-run home run for Whalen has made the most noise in this game, but she didn't have very good at-bats against Borowski in game 1. We'll see if she's got that timing down here in game 2.
Well, I mentioned how far Whalen hit the ball on that home run, and with that home run, she also took the team lead in that department back, as she was sharing it with Samantha McPherson for about 20 minutes, and then Whalen with her third home run back in front in that category for this Dolphins team, and she looks it up high there to even up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. One pitch up coming from Borowski. And Whalen just can't catch up to that high fastball. That's a pitch better laid off.
Yep. It was well high in the strike zone, but Whalen couldn't lay off of it.
It's too bad we can't get a look at the home run swing again, because I'd bet that the home run was on a similar pitch. As the 1-2 sails upstairs, evening up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Some hitters just like that high fastball, and if you can get around on it, you can do what Whalen did in her first at-bat of the game. Here comes the 2-2. And she chases up high once again for strike 3. So Whalen is set down on strikes, and there are quickly 2 away with Jessica Carrion coming to the plate.
Yeah, so Borowski, who came into the game in the bottom of the third, working now into her 9th inning, but still showing that same velocity and power behind those pitches as she has way back in the first inning of game 1.
Carrion looked to slap that ball and was just way late for strike 1. And as I said during game 1, the best approach for the Dolphins as they struggle to get around on the Borowski fastballs are to put the ball in play and not chase out of the strike zone. And if Whalen doesn't chase during her at-bat, she's likely standing at first base right now.
Right.
Easier said than done.
Definitely, because Borowski knows it, knows that it's hard to lay off of it.
Here comes the 0-2 to Jessica Carrion, and she's way late again as she tried to slap that one through the left side. Comes up empty for strike 3. So a strong inning for Katie Borowski. She's all smiles on her way back to the dugout. Her team still trailing by a run as we head into the top half of the 5th.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. Dolphins holding on to a 1-run lead entering the 5th. And this is a big inning for Nicole Rivera in the circle, as it will be the top of the order due up for the Purple Knights, and a top of the lineup chant erupting from the Bridgeport dugout ahead of the first pitch of inning number 5. And it sails up high for ball 1.
This game, Joe, about 50 minutes old, 50 to 55 minutes old, and we are already here in the 5th inning. It is motoring through. I know that's the kiss of death for us, but still, it's good to see both of our pitchers working quickly, staying ahead of batters, although Rivera will have to come from behind here against the top of the order, Meg McFarland.
It's been a very entertaining pair of games so far. The Dolphins struggled to get into the run column in game 1. They did not score as McFarland lines went into shallow left center. Porcaro had her played perfectly, but not shallow enough, as the Purple Knights now have a leadoff base runner, and we'll see if they look to bunt.
Yeah, I think they will here, Joe. With Alyssa Marmolejo at bat, lefty versus righty. We'll see what they decide to do. Caterage playing way up.
No bunt on that pitch as the Dolphins do charge in, but it's taken for ball 1. Marmolejo 1 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt and a single. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. She squares, and that one misses for ball 2.
Pulled it back just in time. And one thing that Bridgeport hasn't done well in this game is sacrifice. Almost every time they've been asked to, they've had 2 quick strikes and have been unable to complete it. They've gotten it done in other ways. They've gotten hits instead. And
Game 1, it was repeated failure on attempted sacrifices. Game 2, they are, I believe, 1 for 1 as Gallo fields that bunt, and her throw to Kamohendo covering first is in time. Sacrifice successful. Tying run moves into scoring position.
Right, so mission accomplished for Bridgeport. They get another lefty bat up in Kara Ramon. And 1 hit, at least 1 hit with into some open real estate could score the game-tying run.
That one sails way upstairs from Rivera, and it has to be a little bit concerning for the Dolphins coaching staff as Rivera perhaps overthrowing. We've seen 2 of those pitches sail way up out of the strike zone in this inning already, as that misses as well for ball 2. First base is open. Ramon, the leading hitter for this Purple Knights team. And she takes that pitch off the front shoulder. So Ramon is hit by the 2-0 pitch. And there are now 2 on for the Purple Knights with 1 out.
Yep, and probably the most prolific hitter on this team, Taylor Yates, stepping up in that cleanup role. She does have the 2 RBI hit back in the first inning that accounts for Bridgeport's runs, which I think put her in the lead for RBI this season for Bridgeport. Gallo wants to have a further discussion with Rivera on how to approach this at-bat. That's a big moment of the game right here, Joe.
I think that's a wise move by Gallo to have a word with her pitcher, especially after the hit by pitch. Yates responsible for the 2 runs up on the scoreboard for Bridgeport in this game, and she fouls back the first pitch from Rivera.
Well, I'm sorry, Joe. No, that helps. That first pitch strike helps because on both the previous at-bats, I think she started the count off 2-0 and has lost both batters.
Yates 2 for 2 in the game, so Rivera would be wise to pitch her carefully if possible. No open bases now, but a base hit here could give Bridgeport the lead. Here comes the 1-1. And that one looked like it nearly hit her on the inside corner. I'm not sure how close it was. I have a tough angle.
Yeah, Gallo wanted an explanation on how deep inside that ball was.
Couldn't have been too far in that case. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. And that's it sharply on the ground past the diving McPherson. Dolphins had the outfield shifted, favoring center field. That will allow 2 runs to score as Ramon is in with the go-ahead run. It is another 2 RBI double for Taylor Yates, and the Purple Knights are back in front, 4-3.
Yeah, perfect piece of hitting for Taylor Yates, who now has 4 RBI in the game and has given Bridgeport back the lead. You mentioned it, Joe. The shift was on in the outfield. Yates was quick to see it and smoked one under the glove of McPherson, who had no chance to make the play in the infield, and then carry on. Had to go all the way back into the warning track to dig that one out and keep Yates at second base.
Well, Dave, off the bat there, I wasn't sure 1 run would score, and then I saw where Carrion was positioned, and it became clear 2 runs were coming in, as grounding out on the first pitch she sees is Kiana Robinson for the second out of the inning. Moving second to third is Yates, but off the bat, I thought the Dolphins may get another chance to escape this inning. Instead, 2 runs come home to score on what appeared to be a fairly extreme shift by the CSI defense.
Yeah, absolutely. That time, good piece of hitting is what made the difference. And Yates once again responsible. And now the Dolphins have that hurdle in front of them where now they're going to have to tie and overtake the lead against Borowski, who now becomes the new pitcher of record for Bridgeport. And Miranda Hillman is off the hook.
Hope Lincoln the batter, the count even at 1-1, and that is hit towards Elizabeth Moore, who drops the ball. And we'll see how that scored. I couldn't tell how far she had to stretch as the umpire was blocking my view. And that is going to be an error charged to the Dolphins shortstop. That is a big error committed by CSI.
Yep, and that leads to a 5th run. And, it's a tough play to make, but again, extending 2 hands up if Moore is backpedaling there She probably makes the play.
That ball was
Hard
hit
luck.
very softly off the bat, and I had more completely obstructed from my view. I saw she got turned around by it and had to reach up. But off the bat, I thought for sure that was a play that would be made. I was shocked to see that she was fumbling for the ball on the infield dirt, as we do have a pinch runner coming into the game over at first.
Yep, it'll be...
That's Hannah Kirk.
Yep, Hannah Kirk will take the place of Hope Lincoln, who earned on via the error. Bridgeport has improved their lead now to 2 runs, which equals the lead that they had in the top of the first.
Samantha Sheeby, the batter, and I said it already how costly that error could be, but of course that's because of how much the Dolphins have struggled against Katie Borowski over a full game in the early game of this doubleheader, and now since she's returned here in game 2, as Gallo will throw behind the runner, and sliding back in safely is Kirk. But 2 runs seems like a tall task for this Dolphins team. They have 9 outs to play with in this game, hoping to move into the bottom half of the 5th, trailing by only 2. And that's hit hard on the ground through the left side for a base hit. And now 2 on and 2 out for the Purple Knights, with Samantha Ferrari coming to the plate.
I think what's hurt Rivera in this inning, Joe, has been the fact that she's gotten behind too many of these hitters. We've seen too many 2-0 counts. That was the 3rd batter who has started off with a 2-0 count, and all of those batters have reached base.
First pitch to Ferrari misses low for ball 1, and
it's been the difference, because I think in the first few innings she was ahead of just about every batter.
And that's hit well out to left, but Carry On has room once again, as that's another home run bid by the Purple Knights that comes up just short, but they will take 3 runs in the top half of the 5th, as that's enough to put them back in front by 2. Our score 5-3 heading into the bottom half of the 5th.
For me, just kind of was the glue that kept my family together, I feel like. I don't know what it was that drew me in, but after I started playing for a while and started seeing some early success as a little kid, to see how much it meant to my parents to see me play the game and try to make a difference was really what fueled me to keep playing and stay competitive. Being a triple major is not necessarily easy, but at the same time it is what you make it. Being a tighter-knit university, I have a lot of classes with the same professors, so they know me pretty well. I think it's that personal relationship that really helped me to thrive as a student. I was able to come here and get my triple major, as well as play a super high level of baseball against some of the best players in the country. There's a lot of options here in Division II with a lot of great ball players and a lot of great people, and they make sure that they give you every opportunity to succeed on and off the field.
And we're back here on the ECC Network. The University of Bridgeport back in front of the College of Staten Island by a score of 5-3. Bridgeport led this game 2-0 back in the first, but CSI would score the next 3 runs. However, it is the Purple Knights back out in front by a pair after a 3 spot in the top half of the 5th inning.
Yeah, and so now the Dolphins, who have been out-hit in this game 8-4, need to start from the bottom of the order with 9 outs remaining. And they have to scratch not 1, but 2 runs against Borowski.
8, 9, and 1 due up for the College of Staten Island. Comohendo, Montella, and McPherson, as Garrett Comohendo takes a called strike 1 to open up the bottom half of the 5th inning. Comohendo 0 for 1, struck out looking in her first at bat as she takes up high, evening the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
And the Dolphins solve Borowski, who's got 9 shutout innings in this game, 2 in relief here in this one.
Comohendo swings through that fastball for strike 2.
And I go back, Joe, to that first game where the Dolphins, the one inning where they really made noise is they laid down a bunt, you know, or they hit one right back to the pitcher and forced these fielders to work. And right now, no one's doing that.
As Comohendo goes down looking for the second time, that's already Borowski's 4th strikeout in 2 1/3 innings of work, and Alexandra Montella will be next. Montella 0 for 1. She struck out swinging in her first at bat. And she's just way late on everything Borowski comes at her with as she swings through that pitch for strike 1.
Yeah, you mentioned how efficient Borowski was in game 1, too. The pitch count was relatively low.
So she swings through that for strike 2.
Yeah, she's still dealing. It doesn't look like she's lost anything on these pitches at all.
I think she was up right around 110 pitches in game 1. Here comes her 0-2. And Montella got a piece. And once again, I think she caught that one on the handle of the bat.
Yep. I think it might have hit her thumb because she does choke up a little bit on that bat.
It sounded like that ball caught something other than aluminum. Comes another 0-2 pitch, and that's up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count on Alexandra Montella. Samantha McPherson stands on deck. And that is on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Montella could not believe it. Her jaw dropped with the call, but she is sent back to the dugout for out number 2. That will bring the Dolphins' leadoff hitter, Samantha McPherson, to the plate. McPherson led off this game for CSI with a home run. She's 1 for 2 in the game, and she takes ball 1 here.
Right, the Dolphins have flashed some power in this game. You mentioned the 2 home runs that have accounted for the 3 runs that they've scored.
Well, Mike didn't mention anything, Dave. He's down in Florida, so that's it on the ground to second, and McPherson's thrown out.
I didn't say Mike. I did not say Mike.
You absolutely,
I absolutely did
without
not.
certain,
no, I did
without
not.
a doubt, did.
We're not going to break. We're going to argue about this.
We are going to replay.
We can replay it. We can replay it, but there's no audio with replay.
That's unfortunate.
I didn't say. I think I said something. You thought I said Mike, but I said a word, like an actual word. I didn't call you Mike.
We actually can go to replay on the
ECC
bring it up. Network.
Bring it up. I didn't say Mike.
I
did
have
not
to
call
check.
you Mike. I did not.
Did he?
No, I said a word. It sounded like Mike, but it's
like Mike. I need to see if anyone's watching at home. If any of our colleagues are watching, Nick Durst or Joe Masha at home, we need some input on this.
I didn't call you Mike. I know
This is too great. I really hope I can rewind this live broadcast on the ECC Network.
Just timestamp it. We're going into the 6th inning. We'll watch it later.
Well, I'll tell you,
Mike.
The internet is not cooperating here at the College of Staten Island. Sal's phone is hogging all the bandwidth. His cellular connection is rendering my device unusable.
Well, can we? I know, right? Can we at least give props to Sal for making this broadcast possible? The CSI wireless was not working for us today. So if you joined us late, Sal Caruso, our statistician, we're using his phone as a hotspot, and it has really kept us on the air. It's kept our live stats on the air. It's been awesome all day. So thank you, Sal. And we do not have Sal for tomorrow night's game, so we need a plan B for internet.
I may have to make another run to Best Buy. All right, so top half of the 6th inning about to get started. In fact, it's already well underway. 2 pitches in. And ahead in the count, 2-0 is Sarah Silver. Silver made a home run bid in her last at-bat. As I have not forgotten about getting to the replay on the final call of the previous half inning. And the count now 3 balls and no strikes on Silver here to open up the 6th.
Shouldn't have to mention how imperative it is for the Dolphins to keep the University of Bridgeport right here at 5 runs. They can ill afford to get down by any more. And again, I maintain that Rivera has gotten into trouble when she's fallen behind on these Purple Knights hitters.
Thought you were about to maintain that you didn't call me Mike. As that's hit well out to left center field.
Beautiful.
And making a very good sliding basket catches carry on, and right there she was positioned perfectly on that ball. Unfortunately, The 2-run extra base hit by Yates in the previous inning did not see Carry-On positioned as well, and the wind is picking up, and I know we had thunderstorms in the forecast. We'll double-check that forecast once again right here, but the temperature has dropped again and the wind picking up a bit. Meg McFarland is the batter, and she looks at ball 1.
Yeah, so Bridgeport, this was the part of the order that has given Rivera a host of trouble back in the first inning. And then, of course, last inning.
Well, I think we are in the clear regarding the weather as that rain keeps moving back 1 hour at a time. When we came on the air, it was slated for about 9 p.m. Now, rain in the forecast for 11 p.m., potentially even 12 a.m., and I don't think any of us intend to be out here at that hour.
Nope.
Absolutely not. That's one thing I'm sure we can agree on. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count on McFarland with 1 away here in the 6th, and that's fouled away for strike 2.
We should mention, too, to anybody who didn't catch it on our website, that CSI's softball game tomorrow has been moved from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's because when the rain does come at 12, or whenever it comes tonight, it's going to continue until about that time tomorrow, and they'll put the tarp on the field and hope for the best.
Hope we will, as that one is grounded foul. And
because you keep saying, Joe, that the rain is moving, but that means that it's going to end
it's
later.
Overlapping.
Right.
Yes.
So, no, not the best news in the world either, because those games tomorrow have to be played somehow, some way.
It could be a very late night tomorrow.
It might be.
I think we're going to prepare some chicken wings for a tailgate, as that one is
little midnight
grounded
madness
over to second, and Comohendo throws out McFarland at first for out number 2. So Rivera has retired the first 2 to face her here in the 6th, just what the Dolphins needed, and Elissa Marmolejo will be the batter. And I'm not joking, there is food coming with me to the CSI softball complex tomorrow in anticipation of any potential delay. Marmolejo ahead in the count here, 1-0.
Tomorrow night it'll be Joe and Nick Durst will be on.
Did Nick confirm with you?
No, he confirmed with you.
He has not confirmed with me. He is very apprehensive about the potential for a 1 a.m. finish.
Oh, jeez,
that is his concern. As that's grounded through the right side for a base hit past the diving Comohendo, as Garrett made a nice effort on that ball, and the tents are beginning to shake overhead.
Yes, indeed.
This inning continues after that base hit. A 2-out single by Marmolejo brings Kyra Ramon to the plate. I'll work on Nick and try and convince him.
Well, yeah, we also need an answer because we need to build a staff. We can't worry about what time people are getting home and, I mean, come on.
Well,
This is sports. This is live sports. They come with a little bit of strings. So commit or do not commit.
We will push for a committal before the night is over. Hopefully he's watching.
I hope he's watching.
I think at one point he was, because he knew that you and I were on the call. So I think at some point he must have tuned in. As the 2-0 pitch to Ramon is in for a called strike 1. There is certainly potential for a very late finish tomorrow. I can see it.
Yeah, and those should be 2 pretty competitive games like these have been.
We sure hope so, as that's grounded through the middle for a base hit. Going first to second is Marmolejo. And on with a 2-out single is Kyra Ramon. That will bring up Taylor Yates, and we spoke about it during the break. 1 inning ago, Yates has been the bane of CSI's existence tonight. 3 for 3 in this game.
Let's just say that Taylor likes it when there's 2 runners on base, because
she sure has.
Each time she's brought them home.
Double, single, double for Yates, and an extra base hit here could break this game open. She takes down and in for ball 1. Yates came in, Bridgeport's second leading hitter at .329. Has lived up to that number tonight, far exceeded it at the plate. And now she's ahead in the count 2-0.
No one warming for the Dolphins. Only Korick has the potential to do so. Jackie Cateridge is the other CSI pitcher who's playing first base.
Well, the only way Cateridge could get into the game is if they replaced her with Montella in the field and then had her warm up.
Mm-hmm.
Cateridge did pitch against this Purple Knights team the last time these two sides squared off. Count 3-0 on Yates here, and she is swinging 3-0. And
no, why not, right? I mean, you've seen what she can do.
Looks like she surprised her third base coach there.
Especially if the third base coach gave her the sign to take.
That would definitely be a bit of a shocker. 3-1 the count now. On the Purple Knights shortstop. 2 on, 2 out. And that's hit well out to left center, but Carrion is there, and she makes the catch for the final out of the inning. So Nicole Rivera and the Dolphins strand a pair of Purple Knights on the base paths in the road half of the sixth. CSI comes to bat, trailing by 2 after this break.
NCAA Division II Community Engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student-athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student-athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student-athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
All right, Dave, we were going back to the replay. I intentionally allowed that to continue through, and unfortunately we just missed it, so I'm going to have to scrub back again. I didn't hear it either, and I know I heard it in real time. Sal also thinks he heard it in real time, so we'll have to check again.
Yeah, you check that again.
You were,
do that.
You were giving me hand signals ahead of the break as if you wanted me to stop the audio.
Well, we're on the air. We got to get back. We got to get back to it.
Well, we're back early, so we're going to go back to the tape as I need to see what we have here. So I'll be quiet for a moment. That will bring the Dolphins leadoff hitter Samantha McPherson to the plate. McPherson led off this game for CSI with a home run. She's 1 for 2 in the game. She takes ball 1 here.
Right, the Dolphins have flat.
There it is.
Right. I said right. Not Mike. I said right.
We'll let the viewers be the judge.
Yeah, okay.
As Elizabeth Moore is the batter leading things off for the College of Staten Island in the bottom half of the sixth. CSI down to their final 6 outs.
Not to belabor the point, but even saying Mike just doesn't really go there. It just doesn't like.
It doesn't, but it sure sounded like.
I said right. I know that. It was kind of clear for me.
You did speak the words, so I'd hope it'd be clear to you as once again Elizabeth Moore hits the ball very hard, this time right back up the middle, and she's on with a leadoff single. Just like that, CSI brings the tying run to the plate.
Yeah, really, she's been the anomaly for Borowski. Borowski's really, been lights out against everybody in this order with the exception of Moore. Moore has kind of had her number all afternoon long and into the evening.
Isabel Gallo will be the batter. Tying run at the plate for CSI. Corners are in for the Purple Knights. They're expecting a bunt as Gallo fouls that one back. Dave, if they bunt here, that will incur my wrath. And I don't think they will be because Gallo was swinging at that first pitch, and that's absolutely what I think should be the play here as runs have been hard enough to come by.
Yeah, and you just can't give away outs. At this point, you only have 6 of them to work with. So giving one away for free, Bridgeport's going to be like, thank you very much. We'll take that in a heartbeat.
They sure will take it. And Claudia Porcara on deck has had a rough couple of days on Sunday and now tonight. As Gallo looks at that pitch up high for ball 1.
One of my favorite movie quotes of all time is Billy Bean in Moneyball when he's giving instructions to his players like, if they're going to give you an out, take the out. Say thank you and move on.
A staple of your sports management course.
Love that movie. Can't watch it enough.
How many times have you seen it now?
Well, I've been teaching it since 2015 and once a semester, you could do the math, but I've seen it like twice on my own too. And it's one of those when it comes on TV, you can't help but watch it. It's like the Shawshank Redemption. It's like you're not going to turn it off.
Shawshank Redemption, the highest rated movie on the Internet Movie Database, as Gallo wide-eyed after that strike call, and she is sent back to the dugout. I thought that was a bit high myself, Dave.
I did as well. And, Gallo has a smaller strike zone as well. And tough luck strikeout there. And Borowski's right back on track.
As I was saying, Shawshank Redemption, the highest rated movie on the Internet Movie Database as of the last time I checked. The movie I have never seen.
Oh, what are you doing?
I know. I think it came out either a year after I was born or a year before, so.
Definitely top 5, my top 5 of all time for sure.
Apparently the top 5, or it cracks the top 5 for many who agree with you, as that's taken inside by Claudia Porcaro for ball 1.
Little known fact is that Michael Morrow, our head baseball coach, can recite every line from that movie, just about. And he does at times.
That's not where I thought you were going. I thought you were about to say he had a cameo.
Nope.
As Porcaro hits one slowly toward the middle, diving stop and a glove flip by Marmolejo, but unable to reel it in was Yates. What an effort by the Purple Knights second baseman, Marmolejo.
No doubt about it. Just to get to that ball and then to have the peace of mind to flick it over for what could have been the second out of the inning. That was a tremendous play, but the Dolphins now with the go-ahead run at home plate, tying run at first base. Porcaro needed that in the worst way. The Dolphins' 6th hit of the game, and they're in business.
That would have been an absolutely incredible play as Cateridge hits one over to first, and Silver decides to take the sure out and step on the bag for out number 2. The tying run now stands over at second base, and it will be left to Victoria Whalen.
Yeah, so Whalen now with a big moment in the game. We know the kind of power that she has. She hit a 2-run home run back in the second inning to give the Dolphins the lead. Can lightning strike twice?
And Whalen fouls back the first pitch she sees for strike 1. And talk about a player who is very accustomed to putting the ball in play on the first pitch. Jacqueline Cateridge just put the ball in play on the first pitch no less than 3 times tonight. Looks to attack early, and before I can even look up, she's running down to first base, and her at-bat is over. 0-1 the count here on Whalen, and she takes low for a ball. Jessica Carrion on deck if Whalen can keep the inning going. CSI hoping for a big 2-out base hit. And Whalen takes downstairs. Here comes Moore, and she slides in safely with the 4th Dolphins run. We'll see what the official scoring on that is. Wild pitch or passed ball. And I agree with Sal, as passed ball is the call. And that brings the Dolphins to within a run. And how could I overlook that possibility?
Well, not the way I would have thought the Dolphins would get back into this game. For sure. That bizarre play at second base that Porcaro's able to leg out as a hit deep in the hole. Runners advance on Cateridge, and then a pass ball brings one in, and Dolphins are just one base away from tying this game. And Borowski's shutout night is over. After 10 straight shutout innings, she yields a run.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. The pitch to Whalen is swung on and missed for strike 3. So Katie Borowski escapes trouble in the 6th. The Dolphins do get 1 run back. Their deficit is now 1. Our score, 5-4 Bridgeport, heading into the 7th inning.
Wayne State Medical School has been my dream medical school since I was 5. Athletics are important, but so is service, so is research, so is becoming a better person. And we expect you to do well athletically, but don't forget the reason you're here, which is to give back to your community and to get good grades. It was my sophomore indoor season. It was the first year with our new head coach. And he comes in and he's like, we could be a national contending team if you guys work hard. And I heard him and I was like, well, I want to be a national champion. I want to be an All-American. And I bought in because he bought into our team. And I qualified to go to indoor nationals. I decided I wanted it, so I went and grabbed it.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet. An unearned run comes home for the College of Staten Island in the home half of the sixth to bring them to within a run. But taking a look at it from the CSI perspective, the error made by Elizabeth Moore at shortstop now looms large, as that one unearned run that came home for the Purple Knights is the difference in the game right now. They lead Staten Island 5-4.
Yeah, Rivera comes out with a strike to start this top of the seventh. We said it in the last inning, but imperative again for the Dolphins to keep Bridgeport where they are, as that one is smoked foul. Should mention, Joe, too, that our live stats are down here at CSI as our internet continues to give us trouble. Thankfully for Sal's hotspot, we're still on the air, so we welcome an audience that might be tuning in from the live stats.
As once again, Robinson hits one well out to left field, and Carrion can't make the catch up against the wall. That one is off of the fence. And Robinson made a home run bid in her last at-bat, but hit the ball well foul, and that time, after fouling one off deep into the night, into the woods beyond the CSI softball complex, she times up that one and hits it off the top of the wall for a leadoff double.
Yep. Now she's in prime position here with Hope Lincoln with the bat in her hand. She got on base last time she was up. So looking to make noise near the bottom of the order here is Bridgeport.
And Lincoln will look to bunt, and you mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Dave, the trouble they've had laying down the sacrifice, and Lincoln fouls back that first bunt attempt. Owen won the count on Lincoln. She squares to bunt again, and that one is bunted foul.
I'll tell you, if there's one area of this Bridgeport team that has really been a sore spot, it's been this. I think they've had one successful sack bunt in this game. That was by Marmolejo in the 3-run inning. But other than that, they've kind of failed on these attempts over and over.
The 0-2 pitch misses down and in for a ball. The wind picking up again, blowing dirt around the infield. Temperature continues to fall.
Yeah, it is a cold wind, too.
Sure is. Thankfully, all of us are dressed appropriately. I'm actually quite comfortable right now, all things considered, and I'm not sure I can say the same for the players who elected to come out for Game 2 in short sleeves.
Right. Or the baseball team that's collected behind us in shorts.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're managing that one, as that's hit well out to left field yet again, but Carrion is positioned perfectly for the second time in as many innings, and she makes the catch for out number 1.
That was hit so hard and so on a line that there was no chance for Robinson to tag up from second to third. And so she stays right there. Best of both worlds for the College of Staten Island. They registered the out. Runner holds at second. And now it's Samantha Shebe, the batter.
Purple Knights have hit the ball well out to left field many times already in this game, as that one's hit well out to right field, but Victoria Whalen, falling to the turf, makes the catch. Unfortunately for the Dolphins, able to advance 2 bases and score from second is Robinson with a huge insurance run. The Purple Knights now lead 6-4.
They're going to check her at third base, Joe. They're going to check her at third. I don't know if she touched the bag at third. Yep. Well, she was safe on the appeal, but still, tremendous play by Whalen. Can't fault her there, as she had to overextend for that ball, make the catch. But heads-up play by the University of Bridgeport gives them back a 2-run lead.
So, Dave, is that a sacrifice fly?
I don't think so, Joe. I'd have to check. I was thinking the same thing, because she doesn't score on necessarily the fly ball. She scores because of really the throw is just not in time. But I don't think it's not a sac fly.
That's a very interesting play. I am not sure I have ever seen that.
We'll definitely look it up when we get back to the office, but I don't think I've ever seen that. 25 years covering softball, I've never seen a player, unless obviously there was a mistake made or an error, on a throw or whatnot to check the runner at third. But
Pinch runner comes into the game. It will be Grace DeRita pinch running for Ferreira, who had that last 2-out single. Well, Dave's going to do some background research into whether or not a sacrifice fly can occur on the advancement of 2 bases by the base runner. And the action resumes with Sarah Silver popping up that pitch into shallow left center. Porcaro charging in, and she makes the catch for the 3rd out of the inning. So maybe we'll have some clarity on that potential sacrifice fly after this break. But for the Purple Knights, it will be a 2-run lead entering the bottom half of the 7th. Katie Borowski looking to close the door on CSI.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can. And then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And we are back here on CSI Sportsnet as we receive changes for the Purple Knights. Taylor Yates moves from shortstop to catcher, and Haley Kim will come in to play shortstop for the University of Bridgeport. College of Staten Island trailing by 2, entering the bottom half of the 7th. It will be 7, 8, 9 due up for the College of Staten Island. And Dave, we have some clarification regarding what will go down as a sacrifice fly.
Yeah, if a runner tags and advances from second base, or theoretically even from first base, all the way home and scores without an intervening error, the batter is credited with a sacrifice fly, as well as a second RBI if another runner came in. So let's say 2 runs scored, they'd get credit for 2 RBI. So that is a sac fly RBI. Did not know that. So there's something new for us, and it's a huge run. It puts them up 6-4 now, Bridgeport, with the Dolphins and their final 3 outs.
Well, that undoubtedly is a huge run for the University of Bridgeport. They can now breathe a bit easier entering the bottom half of the 7th. They are 3 outs away from clinching an East Coast Conference regular season title. Standing in the way are Jessica Carrion, Garrett Comohendo, and Alexandra Montella. Due up for CSI in the bottom half of the 7th, and Carrion is quickly behind 0-2.
Mike Morrow just texted me and said, yes, indeed, that is a sac fly from second base.
Mike tuning in.
Yeah.
Did you ask? I was going to say,
no, I
did
didn't
you
ask. No, he's tuning in.
So he now knows about your comments regarding his recitement of
yeah,
lines from Shawshank Redemption.
I don't know how long he's been listening, but Mike is a huge fan of the Shawshank Redemption, can recite every single line, and I'm sure I'm going to get a text from him now with a line from that movie corroborating it.
0-2 the count on Carrion, and she fouls back another one.
Staying alive is Carrion. Any way on at this point for the Dolphins. They need a base runner. They'll take more than Carrion to tie this game up.
Carrion 0 for 2 in the game, has grounded out and struck out. Purple Knights had her played to bunt from the first pitch of this at-bat. They still do with 2 strikes. And that one slapped to the right side, and making the play easily is Marmolejo for out number 1. That will bring up Garrett Comohendo. Comohendo in the game, 0 for 2, has struck out looking twice. Emily Korick stands in the on-deck circle for the College of Staten Island. Looks like she will pinch hit. As Comohendo takes a called strike 1. Corrick with pinch hit from Montella. And she will get a chance with her team trailing by at least a pair. Kamohendo hoping to get on any way she can. Here comes the 0-1, and she's way late on that fastball for strike 2.
Nope.
A text from Mike Morrow has arrived.
Yeah, he did say he was listening earlier as well, so he caught it.
0-2 the count on Kamohendo, and she goes up the ladder and swings to that fastball for strike 3. And Yates keeps losing the catcher's mitt as that fastball she claims is hitting her finger, and I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of a fastball from Borowski to the finger, that's for sure.
No, the glove's supposed to help. Not the case right now, as we have a pinch hitter coming up for the Dolphins. Emily Corrick will be the pinch hitter, just as Joe mentioned before. Her second at-bat of the game. She went 0 for 1 in the first game.
Dolphins down to their final out. Purple Knights are 1 out away from clinching an East Coast Conference regular season championship.
Mike continuously quoting Shawshank, giving us a laugh here.
I guess it wasn't PG enough to read?
No, it was.
Okay.
It was. It was just a random, middle of the movie kind of.
That's how you know he is well-versed in the script for the Shawshank Redemption, as Corrick swings to that pitch for strike 2, and the Dolphins are down to their final strike.
Maybe not tonight, Joe, because you have to get a good night's sleep and get ready for the game tomorrow, another doubleheader at night. But at some point this weekend, your homework is to watch Shawshank Redemption.
Will do, as Corrick hits one on the ground foul. Half swing there by Corrick, and she runs the baseline for the first time tonight.
Sal just mouthed to me, he's never seen it? No.
I haven't seen many movies pre-about 2015. 0-2 the count, and Corrick lines one into shallow left field and off the glove of Ramon. That's down for a 2-out base hit.
Yeah, that's a base hit.
And Corrick wisely advances to second. Now, I'm not sure that's the smartest play, coming off of an injury with your team trailing by 2. Her run doesn't mean much, but it does open up first base. And Samantha McPherson will get a chance with 2 outs in the 7th.
Yep. And, again, if you're Borowski, the runner at second means absolutely nothing at this point. But it does bring CSI's top of the order up. And this is the point in the order where that has done some damage.
Count on McPherson 0-1. And out of curiosity, Dave, do you score that a double, or do you score that a single and advance on negligence?
Yeah, probably.
As McPherson pops one up on the infield off the glove of the pitcher Borowski, and the Dolphins are still alive. What a turn of events here in the 7th inning, as the inability of the Purple Knights to keep the softball in the glove has yielded 2 Dolphins base runners, and now Elizabeth Moore comes to bat as the go-ahead run. The tying run now stands over at first.
Right, and if you're Samantha McPherson, you might be in motion.
As the scoreboard says 7-4, I was trying to bring the attention of our scoreboard operator over here for that. Is we're getting that taken care of right now as the Purple Knights confer at the mound. I did it again, Dave. I made it to the 7th inning before uttering the word mound on a softball broadcast. But the Purple Knights are conferring in the circle on the rubber. And for the Dolphins, Elizabeth Moore is the batter. And I don't think any Dolphin has gotten better swings against Borowski than Moore tonight.
I know. They're fixing it. Something happened. They're fixing it. Help her out, guys.
Somehow the score has devolved here, and we're at 11-4 right now. I'm not sure what's going on. It's a simple -1, is it not?
No, it's the edit.
Not? Oh, it's the edit?
Because they put 6 runs on the board, but they put them all in the 7th inning. So they're working on it. Just give us a moment, please.
So as they work on that scoreboard, the Purple Knights
Okay, they're working on it.
are awaiting that change. And there we go.
Welcome.
I'm not exactly sure why they can't resume play with the run column incorrect. Everyone knows what the score is.
We play games without a scoreboard. I mean, come on.
6-4 our score. Elizabeth Moore, the batter, as I could have went with a rhyme there, which I'm sure Nick Durst would have really appreciated. He was dropping rhymes on us for the entirety of his tenure in the booth on Saturday. And I'll work to get him on here tomorrow.
And Joe, it's fitting that the woman up at bat is the one who's gotten the best swings off of Borowski all evening long. Let's see if Elizabeth Moore can come through for the Dolphins.
She's behind in the count here, 0-1. And the pitch from Borowski is hit well out to center. That one is chasing back the center fielder, McFarland, who makes the catch, and the ball game is over. The University of Bridgeport clinches an East Coast Conference regular season title as Elizabeth Moore made a bid to tie this game up, and that is not the first time this season Moore has hit the ball extremely well with a chance to tie it or give CSI the lead.
Well, it was a fun game, Joe, and it ended in a really, awesome way, right, with a beautiful hit. Elizabeth Moore gave it a ride, and the Dolphins, this is one to grow on, Joe. 2 losses, but 3-0 and 6-4 to the team that is the ECC regular season champions at this point, the number 1 seed going into the tournament. I think that's one to hang your hat on. This was a good, these were 2 good, clean losses for the Dolphins that they can learn from, they can grow from, and they should be very proud of.
And 2 very entertaining games with 2 more upcoming tomorrow night as the Dolphins drop a pair to the University of Bridgeport on this particular night. And that wraps up our broadcast, our coverage of East Coast Conference softball. What a pair of games tonight. For the University of Bridgeport, it is an East Coast Conference regular season title. And for the College of Staten Island, 2 more games left on the schedule tomorrow night at 7 p.m. against Malloy College. But until then, for all of us here at the College of Staten Island, this is Joe Foreman, and for my broadcast partner, David Pizzuto, our statistician, Sal Caruso, and all of us working the game this evening, we thank you for watching. Our final score in Game 2, the Purple Knights 6,